If not, I'm going to play from my Rodecaster, which I'm doing. Let it hum. Let it hum. Let's see. What we got here. Let's go here. I don't know if you guys can hear that. What's going on? Nope. Okay. Well, here we are. So,
all right.
Music on Street Streams is broken. So here we are.
All right. Well, welcome everybody once again to NFL HQ. We now have music. We don't have our title screen, NFL HQ, across the screen. So always a work in progress, but always here to have some fun and talk football. As always, we have Dave, our resident Jaguars fan, not from Oklahoma, apparently, allegedly, but from Omaha, Nebraska. Say hello, Pinwheel Dave.
Hello.
Dave.
Yes.
We also have from Paradise, which is apparently in Las Vegas, if you ask anybody, Brandon, our Minnesota Vikings fan, who's coming off a Monday night win, so always good, as someone that has done that a week ago. So, Brandon, say hello to the people. Cannot hear from Brandon. Technical difference. Par for the course. And, of course, wearing his black, not that the Miami Dolphins wear black, the team he supports, but unfortunately it is the Dolphins' funeral today. He is not in the most upbeat of moods. It's almost like sports depression, as we like to call it. From Las Vegas, Nevada himself, AC, our Dolphins fan, say hello.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? Hey, everybody on Clapper. We are brand new on this platform. What's going on? I see some people that I know. By the way, somebody asked to explain what's going on. First of all, give a thumbs up if you guys can hear me, and as well as the two other people that are on this.
Should be three of us.
Should be three of us. Pardon me.
Well,
so make sure you can hear this guy. Thumbs up. It's a test. But we're live on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter.
Can you hear the rest of us?
What we're doing is talking about the NFL. It's our weekly show about the recap of the NFL of the week prior, and hope you guys hang around. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear it.
And last but not least, of course, I am the avatar from Canada. I am DanRod88, and I cheer for the Dallas Cowboys. So for me, it was a bye week, so I got to sit back, relax, and not have to worry about what was happening to the Cowboys, good, bad, or other. Anyways, like we like to do here on NFL HQ, as AC has mentioned, live on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, or X, and of course now possibly on Clapper, where AC is streaming live from his account. Hopefully you can hear Dave, Brandon, myself through AC's feed. We look forward to talking with all of you there as well. Give us some live feedback on Clapper. If you can, AC will definitely relay some of the messages to us. But what we like to do here on NFL HQ is, again, talk all things NFL. So we just went through, I believe it was week 7 in the NFL. So we'll recap a little bit of what happened week 7. We do our home field advantage segment. So the four of us all cheer for different teams. We will talk about those 4 teams and how we felt they did. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys did not play, so I will not talk about the Cowboys necessarily this week. We also sometimes talk about coaches on the hot seat. We might skip that one today. We talk about some injuries that maybe could affect some teams going forward. We'll play a little fact or fiction where we'll give out a few topics and we'll decide if those topics are fact or if they are indeed fictitious. Of course, we will give our final word, Dave's favorite segment of the show, on the week that was, a word to recap the week. And then we'll get into Bettor Sweet. That is Bettor, because we are bettors for entertainment purposes only. And it is sweet when we hit our parlays. AC did talk about wanting to do a parlay, the legs today. I forget what it calls now, but it'll come to me in a second. But anywho, I don't know where AC is.
So we might add an extra one, we might not.
I want to do a parlay on props.
Yes, when you put them together, a parlay, when you put together more than one pick, it's called a parlay. I think parlay was the right word. Anyways, AC, we didn't really talk about it, but we can call it run the table since, what gamblers do, or at the casinos, they run the tables. So we'll try and run the table on your parlay. Try and get a few legs of a parlay on top of our Better Sweet segment. But with all that being said, we always start the show with home field advantage. We talk about our teams, good or bad, what we saw that we liked, didn't like, and things like that. And we will start with, of course, the Minnesota Vikings this week, coming off a big win on Monday Night Football. The underdogs winning at home, taking down the mighty San Francisco 49ers, 22-17. Maybe it wasn't always pretty at times. Charvarius Ward and Jordan Addison both took turns catching the ball or intercepting the ball and then taking it away from each other. That happened. All those things encompassing, but they came away with a big win last night, fresh off recesses of our memory. So, Brandon, your Minnesota Vikings got the win. Hopefully we can hear you and hear all your praise for your Minnesota Vikings, a team that you clearly loved this whole season.
You don't want to lose ever. You need to turn up, bud.
We will wait for Brandon.
Mhm.
Bated breath.
No.
No.
And we cannot hear from Brandon.
Make sure everything, your board turned up,
headphones plugged in.
mic's working. That's just the way it happens, buddy. It's live.
Yeah.
It's live TV.
That's what happens to live shows.
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear?
Oh, there we go. Yay.
So once again,
Okay.
22-17.
I just unplugged and
prime
plugged it
time.
back in, right? But again, just like Kirk Cousins, when you think I'm down, I'm gonna get the game. Man. You know what? Look, I don't know what kind of season it'll turn out to be, but having that game at the way it was, fantastic. No sacks. Beating a team that's just been bullying us for the last couple of years, especially in the playoffs 2 years back. And then a couple of years ago, it just felt like, no matter what we did, we were just going to always come up short. And without Jefferson, 7-point dogs, basically backs against the wall, they came through, and then even when like Addison goes down, they throw it to Powell. The worst part is that like, oh, he can do that. Then why does he do that all the time? Like that was kind of more of my thing. It's like, it's like, when the wife cooks a good dish and you're like, hey, wait, you know how to cook? It's like, you're like, why you been burning toast 20 years, And it's so, it's that sense of, hey, look when we're right, you're looking good. And then again, man, it's, having Brian Flores as that defense, sometimes it kills you, because he'll do a zero blitz, and that's how he got the McCaffrey touchdown. But, at least it's aggressive. And we were so passive last year. We used to just let people, slap us around. And at least this time it was like, hey, we might lose, might win, but, way more physical. I love where the defense is going. The coaching staff I love. We're just kind of in flux a little bit on the quarterback, but hey, man, we got a lot of easy games coming up, winnable. Maybe get us back in the playoffs. My thing is always, if I can watch a game in January, I'm happy, right? And so,
but is it really a win? Habitat Audio wants to know: is it really a win if they still have Kirk Cousins next season?
No, it really isn't.
That's a good question.
Nothing that he's done wrong, but it's just like he needs kind of a team that's already made up, and then he goes there. Our team's more built on. We need more of a quarterback savior. We need more of a Patty Mahomes than we do a Dak Prescott, right? You need sometimes like Derek Carr's and other guys, Jimmy Garoppolo's. When you have the whole team built, those guys can drive you where you need to be. But if you have weaknesses and you ask them to take another notch, then that's where they'll leave you short. And I just don't think we have the team built right now to take a Kirk Cousins team anywhere.
I just want to say this is a much different Brandon than we've heard from the first 6 weeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The wife heard me screaming up and down that
he's talking playoffs, optimism.
Yeah.
And of course the question will always be Kirk Cousins. We talked about it last week. Would Kirk Cousins possibly be traded, things like that? I don't think Kirk Cousins gets traded. And we also made the comparison. Is Brock Purdy similar to Kirk Cousins in a way where, you put the weapons around him, they'll get things done? Brock Purdy was, of course, getting all the praise because he's winning games. Kirk Cousins, not so much because he wasn't winning games in Minnesota. And sure enough, they square off. And I think it's safe to say, at least for one night, Kirk Cousins proved he was a better quarterback than Brock Purdy last night.
He was exposed. To me, Brock Purdy got exposed on national.
I think Brock Purdy's always been, like he's not in like Kirk Cousins class yet. And I'm not saying that anything in nature, but like those guys have been doing it longer with less weapons. Like he's been able to kind of like handmade perfect team that wasn't even built for him. It was supposed to be built for Lance and Garoppolo, and he was able to kind of just not screw it up. But like, those guys end up, falling off if you put them on any other team. This is a Shanahan schemed, with all-stars up and down. His asked just not to lose it. We'll see what happens to his career when he's asked to win it. And I think that's going to be key going forward.
Jefferson has killed me in fantasy. After he got injured, he was my first pick, says Flower. Basically, a big screw you.
He'll be back, and you could get him. That's always tough because you're right. But he'll be back.
He lost, not the future. He's talking about the ones that your guy has lost for him.
Hey man, get on board with that. I got Burrow and Higgins killing me 9 times out of 10. Right? Like,
hey, when somebody gets injured, go find their backup and put them in.
Yeah.
If he'd have put in the other receiver,
that
he'd have fucking kicked ass. If he'd have grabbed him.
You know what's funny is that the guys you pay for a lot of money, the Jeffersons, the McCaffreys, you actually do better when like my best guys like Puka Nacua, like some guy you just pick off of waivers and you go, hey, screw it. Like sometimes it's you spend that money in the draft and the draft capital getting there, and then it's always some guy you got off of waivers week 3 that's saving your life. So
Yep.
yeah, great time, football. Man. Get your purple on. We're back. And then we lose again.
I'm a different guy. Last week I wanted to blow up the team. This week
I did.
We're back.
I just had enough.
Fine. Keeping Cousins, keeping Jefferson. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, I forgot he had a no trade clause, and so it's like he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going no trade no more.
No trade clause. Okay, well that changes everything, doesn't it? But buy
low
on Jefferson. If you're a fantasy football person, definitely buy low on Jefferson now because people are going to be fed up with him. They're going to try to, get rid of him for peanuts, a bag of peanuts and a bag of chips. So
I don't know if that's necessarily the case because the optimism is back. Are they going to make a playoff push? Also, the fantasy football, as much as you want to hit those waiver wire picks or those late, sleepers as they call them, you still want your top 3 picks to be your lead players. And when they get hurt, it is a struggle in fantasy football. But a strategy that I've always kind of gone along with and felt, though, your top 3 picks have to be your 3 best players. Obviously, injuries kind of ruin that. But if you pick a dud that's maybe not performing as well as they could, that could hurt you. But fantasy football makes you root for the NFL in much different ways than you ever thought you could. And part of the reason why I had to stop playing fantasy football, because you can't root for your team and then root for fantasy players against your team and then root for specific scores. It just gets out of hand. It gets sloppy and it gets dangerous.
Your heart's tugging. I had Ayuk that I needed to help win my fantasy. And so
Brandon Ayuk, can you catch the ball, go down the 1-yard line? No touchdowns, things like that. But we're happy the Dolphins not the Dolphins. Sorry, slip of the tongue, Freudian slip, and we will not talk about that. But we are happy the Vikings got a win. And, of course, 2 of your division foes, the Packers now 2-4. They lost to the lowly Denver Broncos. And the Detroit Lions, who a lot of people thought were world beaters at 5-1 going into this week, got handily beaten by the Baltimore Ravens. Both those teams now 5-2, 38-6. So when you see your divisional opponents lose games, that's got to help. And now here they are, lo and behold, the Minnesota Vikings in that NFC North sits 2nd overall at 3-4. Couple games back of the Detroit Lions, but if I look at
that schedule, it's the softies. It's like,
I don't think you played the Lions yet, and we've talked about that. So 2 games still remaining against the Lions, so that division's still very much up for grabs. So
we're saying the Lions were the best in the NFC. Some were saying the best.
Still the Lions, like they
Wait, hang on, I was saying this week 1. Hey, they're still the Lions. Exactly. Yeah. All right, you guys.
They're still
going to be good. They're still going to win games. I think they even win the division. But to think that they're just going to be some juggernaut, no.
You guys that were just saying they're still the Lions were like, oh, Lions to win that division. Both of you two, by the way. Now that I can see which way my fingers point, and I was like, yeah, the Lions are still the Lions. They're going to realize they're the Lions by the end of the season. Well, we've got a lot of games left.
And we have
and Dave is not saying that because he is biased against Big Cats, because of course he cheers for another team that is Big Cat, a team that you probably forgot played in week 7 because they played all the way back on Thursday. But that team got the week off well for Dave, so he went to the weekend, riding high. His Jacksonville Jaguars went into New Orleans as a road dog, covered the spread easily, won the game outright, 31-24. Dave, talk about your Jacksonville Jaguars and why at 5-2 you believe they are the best team in the AFC South.
I would love to, but here's what I need to do, Dan Rod. And man, you run a good show, and you're right into the Jaguars. That's good. However, I cannot wait to get to this Philadelphia-Miami game. And I don't want to leave. And here's the main reason why. AC, you've been asking me for a very long time to bring on my friend Anthony because he would love to talk about his team. And his team, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think, if I can see who's in the green room, I think Anthony might be here to talk about his Eagles.
All right, so Dave is performing the literal salt in the wounds.
Took time away from his team.
On live TV.
Yeah.
He's like, I forfeit my Jaguar time for more time with Anthony. I've been asking for you to bring on our dear friend for a long time. It didn't have to be Dolphins week, but here we go. The show NFL HQ.
Perfect timing.
Oh, man. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Can you see me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
We can see you, Anthony. Welcome to NFL HQ. We hear you're a big Eagles fan, so of course, I'm not sure if you listen to the show. I am a Cowboys fan. We can talk about that a little bit later. But of course, you guys had a big win this week at the expense of one of our own, AC and his flying high. lack of a better term, Miami Dolphins, clearly they were grounded in the sea. Your Eagles flew high, 31-17 on Sunday Night Football. So we'll give you the floor. Talk about your Philadelphia Eagles and why they are still the reigning NFC champions.
Well, actually, I would like to first give a shout out to the Dolphins because they do have a very weak theme song. As you know, we do. Fly Eagles Fly. Theirs is My Name is Flipper. Flipper's my name.
It really is? Oh, man.
No, they don't have one.
I was like,
See, even the
I
Jets
believed
have
it.
Jets. They don't get
like,
to
I
say it
can see
often,
that.
but they still get to say it. And we did lose to them. Now, first of all, going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm sorry, but I've got to puff my chest on this one because I am the one that actually told you
Last
that your
year.
team was not just going to win after we beat them, by the way.
Yes.
I told you that you were going to win the division, get to the playoffs. As
You
far
did.
as the Dallas Cowboys fan, you guys have problems because they are now doing the one thing that I actually felt was going to be the problem that they had, which is they're doing the Cooper Rush offense with Dak. And Dak can't turn that offense on and off like that. Your defense is nice. Playing to the defense is going to work on weaker teams. But when you have a team that actually has a front line offense and defense, which we do, and the Dolphins found it out the hard way.
Shout out,
you guys have Michael Parsons, which is great, but you don't have anybody to push that middle. The only reason the Eagles actually won that game is because
we let you.
We pushed you in the middle. There's not a quarterback alive that likes to be hit in the middle. You wanted to beat Brady, who's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. I hate New England, but they're still one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. If you got pressure up the middle, that man couldn't do anything. There is not a quarterback around, especially if you don't scramble much at all, that if you're getting pressure up the middle, and we have 3 guys that can do that with just the front 4.
Yeah.
So, if we're going to analyze the game, anybody remember this receiver called Tyreek Hill, who was the best receiver alive or dead? And
No.
he didn't get a seat up.
Not alive or dead. He's just really quick.
Well, to be
He
fair to
did
Tyreek
not
Hill,
get 100 yards. He got 88, just like the Dolphins.
He was talking
12
about
short.
flag football in 2028, so maybe he forgot the rules for a second.
There was a couple calls there. There's a face mask on Wilson. There was a.
Yeah.
It was a good game on that.
Yeah, you're right. And then let's not call the holding call that was on AJ Brown when you could see.
No, that was true. That was a call. There was bad call both sides. Yeah, it was bad officiating.
There were, but I will say this much: the Eagles came out after losing to the Jets, which was the wake up call they needed because they've been playing sloppy ball but winning because they were playing soft teams. And so, literally, the difference was when they came out, the defense set the tone early.
It's Snow White. What's up?
Because let's be honest here. Their offense only scored 10 points.
Yeah.
7 points of that was gotten on a defensive turnover. Which
it's hard to go into Philly. I think it would have been a different game in Miami. When you don't in NFC versus AFC, they don't see these teams a lot. And so you ain't practiced for Jalen Hurts. You don't know what you're getting into.
You know what?
And,
it's not just that.
They took a punch in the face. Yeah.
Listen, it's not just that. Flat out, if the Dolphins do not get home field advantage, they're one and done.
Yeah, they need to get.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because you can't go from 80 degrees to 40 degrees with a 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah.
And then have somebody punch you in the mouth.
Right.
And the reason why I told my friends we were going to win this game was because I went back in time and looked at top 3 defenses versus top 1 offenses that were based on precision and time passing. Anybody remember the Minnesota Vikings? Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah.
Tampa Bay versus the St. Louis Rams.
Gary Anderson misses a 30-yard chip, but I guess all the analysts is there. Yeah,
Guys, Habitat Audio, we have to also comment on the people because we're doing some live comments.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're saying
you know what? Listen, the Dolphins are still the number 1 offense in yards and maybe leading in TDs. That is correct as long as they're in fair weather.
We played that song that you don't know. We played it 10 times during the
Oh, you actually have a song?
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. You ever heard that song? We score them all.
I'm not even trying to be funny, but even the Dallas fans know what the Eagles are.
Shit, it's real.
I just want to know when's the segment that all the teams that have beat the Jets so far can stand up and say nice things.
As a matter of fact, I do say nice things about the Jets. I honestly, beginning the year, expected them to beat us because they were due. They haven't beat us since they were created. Literally.
My God.
Anthony, I have to ask you a question. Well, not ask you a question, but also tell you a couple things. Number one, I know that you're just trying to show your background because you're an Eagles fan, but you're much taller than you look on screen.
He's huge.
So, because I can no, you're way bigger than me. But here's what you told me last year.
Okay, you know what? Here we go. Now, if I stand up,
go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
we don't want to see it though.
Yeah,
okay,
you're fine.
If I stand up, I'm gonna let you know right now. TV.
Your head's gonna be out of the screen.
What do you?
All right.
Okay, good, safe.
So anyway, all right. So, but secondly, do me a favor. And last year, after your Eagles beat my Jaguars, you said, you know what? But they're a great team. They're going to make the playoffs. So, if you can, give AC a little bit of hope about his Dolphins because they're not they're not chumps. They know how to play.
This
is give them a little hope. And what do you think about the Dolphins?
This is what I see for the Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills are about to have a 3-game slide.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Literally because they haven't had that moment where they got punched in the mouth. Okay, they lost to New England, but they're kind of used to that. Plus, they've been beating New England for the past 3 years, so it was time. They're going to split with New England. Have the Dolphins beat the Jets yet?
Yes.
Not the Jets. Have the Dolphins beat the Bills yet?
No, we lost.
They lost that one.
Lost is the Bills. Yeah.
Okay,
we beat the Bills. We beat the Bills.
Well, I know you beat the Bills. We're going to beat the Bills. I know this.
And the damn Jaguars beat the Bills. So
yeah, but see, but the thing about it is that literally all they have to do, because if I'm not mistaken, you guys have out of the next 9 games, you got 6 of them at home.
They got one in Germany.
One in Germany.
Yeah, that one doesn't count. That's an away game. I don't care what they put on the jersey. None of us live in Germany. It's not a home. Okay, hold on. Honestly, if the Jags could literally play in England, they'd be undefeated.
Dude.
Anyway,
I
say it every week.
I'd have to move to England. All right, continue. Tell AC he's
AC
that they're still going to make the playoffs and they're still going to be fine.
No, they're going to be the
make him feel better.
And they're going to have to play. They're going to have to go to a cold team.
No,
nope.
They'll be 1 or 2 seed. They'll win that division. Yeah.
The Dolphins need a safety. The Dolphins got Javon Holland, one of the best top safeties.
Yeah, look at who else is going to win. You got.
Please
Mahomes
tell me out of the next few games where you see them going
the
on
Ravens, but that's about it.
What's that again?
Where do you see the Dolphins going on an 8-game run? This is week 7.
You guys want me to bring up the schedule? I was bringing up the Bill schedule, so you guys want me to bring up the Dolphins?
Yeah, bring up the Dolphins schedule. and actually,
you know what we're going to do after that? We're going to bring up the Philadelphia Eagles schedule, and you're going to see your 5-game slide right after the bye. Give me a second.
Oh, I expect it to be 12 and 5, but we're not going to go through that slide like that. We're going through that 3 and 2. You're here first.
As we're doing that, I want to thank everybody who's coming on to YouTube, listening to the show, and commenting. We're going to get to all those comments.
Yeah.
Or we're going to at least post them. And we're going to comment on the ones we can. Also on Clapper, I can see that we're doing it. And since we're talking about the comments, I want to thank Snow White for asking about the Cardinals. That's her team. And I also want to thank her for saying, "Hi, Dave. I followed you because I thought you were handsome. Thank you, Snow White." I appreciate that.
The magic of television.
I know, and I followed you back. Keeping in mind that I am the lesser half of the Married Couple podcast. You can find us Wednesday nights here doing the Married Couple podcast, or you can look us up, or you can ask Alexa. Anyway, just I know my wife is also listening, so I thought I'd also throw that last bit out.
And if you can, guys, like if you're watching now, a couple 6 people on YouTube, like the stream if you can. That really helps, further the reach, so we can touch more people that want to be touched by football, because we love touching.
And so we can pay Anthony because he doesn't come cheap.
I think Dave's giving me double the salary of what I got before, so I'm
multiplying by 0 again.
Exactly. There we go.
I only see 3 losses left on the schedule, and so they should. That's
okay.
it.
So you think they're going to go into Kansas City on November 5th?
They'll probably that's only lost. That loss, maybe the Ravens, and then maybe the Cowboys if I'm lucky, but I still think they could probably beat them. Like, really,
okay.
You get Jets and Titans.
Here's where I see it. They come out the bye week, they smash the Raiders. The Jets are going to play them tough because the Jets are right now scrappy because they're even. They're 3-3. So because of that, they believe they have a chance.
I'm not going to call it a win.
It feels like a trap game. So
it is a trap game. Because fact of the matter
you
is
would be
the
favored
Jets,
though. You wouldn't call that a loss. Then it would be an upset if it's a trap game. Like I can't count you as a loss in a trap game.
You know what? A loss is a loss. You can time
it is, but I just don't see them losing.
But it's only an L is what you get.
Yeah, but you don't see through more than 3 losses.
Do not. Oh, listen. December 3rd, they're going to be away in Washington. It is not warm in Washington.
It is not.
Now, for those of you that actually like and watch football, please tell me how a precision passing offense is going to work when you go up to Washington, D.C. in December. When it's windy, it's cold. The ball is
7
hard.
points and lost to Tyrod Taylor. They're not going to beat nobody. That is a joke of a team, and they're always they're commanding it up and down. They
did win 8 games last year. That's right. They were 8-9.
You got to remember that Washington team beat an undefeated Eagles team last year.
True. That's true.
They did beat us at that time. They did.
They play
a division rival. They kind of know them, so they'll get their wins that way. They're going to get the breaks beat off of them, and by Dolphins. That's like Dolphins beat up on the bad teams, and Washington's a bad team.
Hey.
Bad teams that don't have front lines. And first of all, the Jets and the Eagles just gave a perfect. They gave a perfect blueprint on how to beat them.
Yeah.
You leave the 2 high safeties, which we did not move them. We refused to move them.
That's the way.
So he couldn't go deep.
Right.
And then on top of that, you can doubt Washington all you want to, but they do have a nasty D line.
They do.
And
they have a lot of names and draft capital in there, but they just don't get the production that you would think they would do.
You're right.
Unless they sign AJ Brown, it's always like this the Commanders, man. Like it's Sam Howell throwing for a 3rd pick. It's Ron Rivera doing bad coaching. They're gonna be a 5-win team. The whole staff will be fired by the end of the year.
They've already won 3.
Man, they're gonna maybe 6. I don't know, but they're not much, and they ain't gonna win the Fins. If they're gonna get their wins by beating the Giants,
and they're not gonna win the division. They're not even sniffing winning the
No, they're not gonna win the division. They're not gonna get to the playoffs. But legitimately, see, Washington always does one thing every year. They beat some team they're not supposed to. Yep. When Tampa Bay was flying high, Kirk Cousins, with absolutely no line, no receivers that any of us can name, walked in there and came out with the L. So
you
gotta be careful.
Mortally comeback. I'm not saying they'll at least be a 6-point underdog.
Oh, they will be an underdog, but
look at that schedule, and you could probably only see 3 times that the Fins will probably even be underdogs.
I'm not worried about underdogs. I literally, And then
I'm not the biggest Dolphins fan, but I'm looking at the schedule. It's just soft. It's like when it doesn't really. And then you end the season with Bills in your own
Titans
home.
are going to beat, Jets are going to beat, Dallas they're going to beat.
Okay. There you go. And then the Ravens will be a loss, and then you get the Bills at home in the last week of the season in Miami.
That's always a treat.
That's the 3 losses.
So they have 2 losses. Yeah, that's 12.
That wins the division and gets you a 1 or 2 or 3 seed.
I mean, we can argue this all day, or we can.
Bills go on the 2-game slide. That's going to happen. But by the way, Dolphins will lose like 4 games. That's funny. Dave, I do have to ask you though.
Yes.
Are the Jags done with their England schedule yet?
Yeah, they're done. They won both games.
But they came back from the
that was they're almost done. They're on their half bye week. They've got 1 game and then they have a bye week. But we'll let Danrod take me back to Jacksonville. If you want to ask me, Danrod, I'll let you take over again.
Well, I was going to say Jacksonville might have come back from London. The Buffalo Bills might still be in London. We'll get to Jacksonville in a second, but we have Anthony here, our Eagles fan. So we'll spend a few more minutes to talk about the Eagles. We'll go back to Sunday night. The Eagles won 31-17. We don't need to beat that with a dead horse, but we will continue to do so. But one alarming stat, the Miami Dolphins were the #1 rushing team in all of the NFL. They had -7 yards at halftime.
No Teron Armstead. Liam Eichenberg sucks. We were down a center who was giving bad snaps the entire damn game.
Oh God, that was terrible. He was a left guard to a left tackle. Then they tried him at center. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, 2 starters.
So you chalk it up as just an aberration, and that running game will still be what we expect from them when Achane comes back. And see, the one thing that they do say travels in bad weather is defense and the running game. So if Miami wants to continue that running game, maybe there is some hope. But like Anthony has mentioned, that Philadelphia Eagles team known for both a great offensive line and defensive line. Anthony, I would not be remiss if I didn't get to ask you, as a Taylor Swift fan, you have the brother of the one dating Taylor Swift right now. That is, of course, Jason Kelce.
The only Swift I'm concerned with is Agent Zero, our running back Swift. Taylor Swift is an Eagles fan, die hard.
Yes.
But I have
dating
to
a Chief
accept
player.
it. I don't have to like
it. No. But do you subscribe to Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce on the New Heights podcast? Which
Actually,
is probably
I have seen their hype podcast, and it's
one sports podcast because of
Are you
Taylor
the Dallas
Swift.
Cowboys fans and one that's speaking now? Because I can't see your name.
Yes, I am the avatar that has no face.
His name is Dan or Dan Rod.
No, that's fine. Because you know what, the avatar with no face makes complete sense for Dallas Cowboys fans because they have a team with no Super Bowl wins in this millennium.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Oh, man.
I hate to mention the obvious here, but last year when we played you with our backup, we had one thing that you hadn't. Both of our quarterbacks have been to a championship game. Minshew has.
Oh my God!
Lost. Yeah. But he got there.
This is why we wanted him here. The man throws.
I love Minshew.
When did Minshew get to a championship game?
He got to
seriously with the
Jacksonville.
Matter of fact, when they were going to Saxonville.
No,
but that was Blake Bortles.
No,
that was Blake Bortles. That wasn't.
They look a lot the same, but it wasn't Gardner Minshew.
No,
Minshew.
Minshew won one game for them, lost 15 in a row.
No, it was
and
Bortles.
The year before, he won like 4 or 5
Oh,
games.
I'm sorry. You're right.
No, we're not giving.
Don't get me wrong.
Credit.
You know what?
That's okay.
He's
flying high.
There's nothing I can do about that.
1 year, it's Blake Bortles, and then they re-signed Blake Bortles that year, who got replaced by Minshew the next.
You're right. You're right.
We'll get to Trevor Lawrence in a minute. Dan Rod, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say, why not? We talk about Gardner Minshew. We're talking about Blake Bortles. Why not talk about the current quarterback that I think none of us will mistake for either of those two gentlemen? That is, of course, Trevor Lawrence. So it's so long ago since we saw him. There was questions going to Thursday night whether he was going to play because his knee was a little banged up. We'll talk about Jalen Hurts banging up his knee a little bit on Sunday night as well. But Dave, your Jacksonville Jaguars got the win. Remind us 31-24. It happened, feels like years ago. It was Thursday night over the New Orleans Saints and the former Raiders quarterback, Derek Carr.
No, it feels like
it in New Orleans.
It was.
Yeah, it was. It was in the Superdome,
hard place to win.
where Trevor Lawrence has not won a game until that night, by the way, and I thought they were going to lose it again. Let me explain something about Trevor Lawrence. I love the fact that he was in the game, which I told you guys he was going to be. Even after I told you he was going to be, I didn't believe it. I thought he wasn't going to start that game, but you know what? He's a fucking badass, and he fought through the pain. Man, I don't know how much pain there was. I'm not him. Here's the one thing that New Orleans, there's a couple things I liked about the game, a couple things I didn't. The thing that New Orleans didn't plan for is a guy who may or may not start running the football. That is one of the things. If they'd have had a spy on him or somebody just making sure he didn't run, but no, they didn't. They were covering all the receivers. Ridley, I'm pretty sure, only had one catch that game.
Yeah.
The plan, though, it didn't matter what the plan was. The thing I love about what they're doing right now is that team believes in itself. Trevor Lawrence, they are all fighting for each other, and him just starting the game made that team kind of wrap around, and they believe in themselves from the coaches, in the locker room, from everybody. They believe, doesn't matter what the score is, they can win. Now, that's also the problem because they should not have let New Orleans come back. We are a better team than New Orleans. They should not have let them come back and tie the game. That was stupid, and I'm sick of it. And it's happened like 3 times in the past 4 weeks. I know I am. It's so the fact that that they won that game, I'm very happy about. But I wasn't 100% sure once they started letting them back. I'm like, oh man, they're letting them come back. They did that the week before with the Colts. They did it 3 weeks before that with the Atlanta Falcons. They are a better team than those teams, but they let them start to come back. That's the thing that bugs me about it. The thing that I love about it is even when they're down, or even not down, even when they make those stupid mistakes that they sometimes make, they still don't believe they're out of it, and they end up coming out with a win. Somehow, luckily, I get to breathe easy at the end of the game, which is the way I did. So you guys all saw the game, probably saw the Jacksonville Jaguars maybe for the first time this season. What is your outcome of the game before I tell what I think about it in the long haul?
Good luck. Good news. You're playing Dennis Allen, so that's always good because he's a horrible coach. And then Carr was just losing his mind, screaming at the guy, so that was kind of ridiculous. I took from it is what, good win, but I kind of was disappointed in Trevor Lawrence. Not from the whole years that I always thought that he would be he's here, but I think I want him here, right? Like he has all the weapons, the tools, the inside. Like he's barely thrown for about a couple hundred yards, a couple touchdowns.
Specimen that he is 6'6".
Yeah, just what it's like. I've been thinking like when that third year when Allen gets Stephon Diggs or something. I thought it'd be kind of one of his MVP years, right? Where you're thinking, man, he's just gonna be racking up points. They winning, but it's definitely just ugly, and they're not. ETN's not running it. He catches very well, almost like an Alvin Kamara, but they don't pound the rock enough. And then yeah, you're thinking you're going to get a lot of with Ridley and Kirk and Jones has been out, but also too is Ingram. I think you lighten up the scoreboard. If you take the pick 6 away, then you're probably somewhere around the low 20s again.
Right.
I just wanted. I want more from him.
I feel the same way. I want more from. I feel like I should be watching something better than Joe Burrow, for example, because he's just built.
Of course. Like this kid was toted in when he's a high school player, and you're getting for a first overall pick. Like, hey, because they're going to need better from him when time comes around, and he's just giving them 230, couple touchdowns, playing okay, but nobody you'd be like, whoa,
right.
Yeah.
I missed that. Who are we talking? Which quarterback are we talking
Trevor
about?
Lawrence. Here? Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine for 2 reasons. Doug Peterson is a team first win kind of guy. Because fact of the matter is, the way we won that Super Bowl, even though Tom Brady had a phenomenal game, he did not have a balanced attack. Because of that, we could burn up clock. Now, when you're looking at the Jags this year, do realize, look at their time of possession. Peterson doesn't want somebody throwing 300 yards a game. Even the only reason when we had, when he was our coach and we had super stupid.
Otherwise, Wentz was throwing for 300. Wentz
was throwing for 300.
Yeah.
Until we got in bad weather games. And that's the reason why they brought in Ajayi. And that's the reason why they beat the stew out of people, because they ran the ball. We were the number 1 rushing team that year as well. The only reason he was throwing for 300 yards was because we were ahead.
Yeah.
And they kept the gas on.
He's fine, but at this level, he should be better than fine. You're right. He's good. He's.
But how many times you going to change his offensive coordinators and then give the man a chance? Because Peterson's been there. Peterson's now there for year 2.
Yeah.
But as far as Trevor Lawrence is concerned, he's had 3 offensive coordinators and 1 horrible year with
Don't say it.
Coach. Yep. Don't say it. Just keep it.
Doug Peterson's better than Urban Meyer?
You had to say his name.
No, not a pass, not a grab.
Nobody gives nobody else a pass.
So
all right.
Justin Herbert's on his 4th quarterback.
Don't get off the rails.
A lot of guys, Dak.
I was going to say, to be fair, in the state of Florida, if you ask people about Urban Meyer, there's some people in Gainesville, Florida, that probably really love the job Urban Meyer did there with the Gators. But talking about your Jaguars quickly, Dave.
So
you're talking about not being able to close out teams, and they're not being able to, put teams away, having teams come back on them. The fact of the matter is, they still won 5 games this year. Just keep stringing together wins, and that's the name of the game. Just keep winning, because at the end of the day, we're scrutinizing your Jaguars because we watch your Jaguars. But most people are going to look and be like, oh, the Jaguars won again. They're not going to know how they won. It doesn't matter. They just got to win games. Your quarterback led a huge comeback, one of the best comebacks in NFL history, in a playoff game a year ago against the Chargers. So they have shown that he has that kind of comeback ability. The other thing being said is it was coming off a short week, coming off a knee injury. We don't know how healthy he was or he wasn't. They still got winners in New Orleans. A place, Dave, you said it. In college, Trevor Lawrence only lost 2 games as a college starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. Both those came in New Orleans. So he exercised those demons. The interesting thing for your Jaguars, we talk about schedules. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. We do not know who the Pittsburgh Steelers are.
No.
They are one of those teams in the NFL you just watch every week, and you are not sure. The only thing you can ever say about the Pittsburgh Steelers is Mike Tomlin never has a losing record. So somewhere along the way, he's going to fall into 9 wins. But anyways, you have that AFC North test. So you have Pittsburgh, And then you have a stretch of Cleveland, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore, all 3 consecutive weeks. And that division right now, we'll talk about it, could be the best division in all of football. You also play the 49ers, so you'll have some of these measuring stick games. But the main thing to focus on is your Jaguars are winning, and that's all that really matters. As you see the schedule there for Jacksonville, there are definitely some games there that you should win and some games that'll be contests. But again, just win the games in your division, win that division, and you're guaranteed at least one home playoff game, and we'll see what happens going forward. While we do have Anthony here, a Eagles fan, I do want to ask him, since we did see a trade this week in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles did trade for a safety, Kevin Byard from the Tennessee Titans.
Fine.
Speaking of the AFC South, so Anthony, you trade away Terrell Edmonds, you get Kevin Byard. How does this improve your Eagles defense on the back end? We know how strong your front end is on that D line. How does adding veteran experience to the safety position help your Eagles going forward?
We have on our D line 1 first-team All-Pro. We now have, and in our corners, we got a couple of Pro Bowlers, but they're not bad. And then we have very young safeties, and we got Bird, which, don't get me wrong, he doesn't have to do a lot. The reason why he was so good in Tennessee was when Tennessee actually had a very nasty front, and they were eating up the time of possession. So they forced the other team into going to rush. And when you get that, I don't care. You can watch, if you've been watching the NFL for as long as I have, I've noticed one thing. If you get that time of possession and you force the other team to all of a sudden, like let's take Sunday's game, for example. Miami only scored when they had to go to hurry up. They came out in the second half and tried that again. 2 misses.
Yep.
And you're out.
Yep.
And when he was with Tennessee and Tennessee was running rough when they had Derrick Henry and the rest of them, that time of possession forced you to try and score 14 points in 8 minutes. So now he's coming to a defense that has a nice front seven. His support for the running game is not necessary. Yeah. He can concentrate on just robbing the ball and being a ball hawk. And then sitting in the back, and then we got other players. He's only going to be there for a couple of years.
Yeah, he's older. In fact, he was my fantasy.
I don't even know if he's back next year, but I think
he'll be back next year.
I think he's more of a reno. But you never know. They might do it. They're gonna hit some. They're gonna be some salary issues coming up in the following years. But man, he's gonna be phenomenal for them. I love that.
Yeah,
you do know that Cox and Graham, which both could have left to make more money, are both playing for the league minimum.
I know. It's crazy. And
that's where leadership goes, because if you want to be honest, like when you talk about great coaches and things like that, Reed, how many Pro Bowl teams did he keep together and never have a salary cap issue? Loyalty to the coach. Tony Dungy, that entire defense.
Belichick.
Yeah.
Belichick was a little bit different. Belichick was, I'm going to let you go before you can get paid too much. He'd give you a little bit. Like, he'll bring you up to minimum wage. And then when you try to get to being a manager, he's like, well, nice knowing you.
Yeah, but, the guys get paid a lot more. Like they're going to see whether you want to pay Devontae Smith that. I don't think he's, because they got A.J. Brown. He's going to be coming up for a new one. The Hurts contract hasn't hit. We'll see how that kind of goes.
Hurts contract, contrary to popular belief, is based on bonuses, not so much to pay for the year. They did it the same way they did Mahomes. Mahomes doesn't have that big of a hit. Mahomes only has like a $12 million hit. But see, bonuses.
But in a couple of years it's going to be redone, and they're going to have to pay him a ton more. They just pushed it back and then pulled the bonuses up front, right?
They definitely front loaded it, which is what you
exactly.
So
right?
they got 3 years before they have to renegotiate.
But,
here's what's going to happen. Hurts is the leader of that team unequivocally.
Yeah.
Then, truth of the matter is, when you have a leader like that is taking people that can make more money and they decide to stay for a league minimum because they believe in what the team is doing, he gets to another Super Bowl or wins the Super Bowl, Bird is going to come back and not ask for a lot. That's the truth, because he's never tasted that. And let me tell you something.
You guys have a short amount of window to make as much money as they can. Look, I'm not saying thing, but nobody's going for the league. Like that's just.
I mean, Mahomes kind of put it out there for everybody in the press conference. I've been.
Look at Mahomes is doing it with rookies at wide receivers. Like he's like AJ Brown's one of the highest paid wide receivers, and then Devontae Smith is coming up for another contract. He's going to be. He needs his extension because he was a rookie, so he's going to go into his third year. He's going to want more money, and then you're still going to have to replace Kelsey because I think it's going to be his last year. And
actually, Kelsey's got his replacement. He handpicked him in the draft 2 years ago.
Did they? Is he ready? You know what? Hey, look at it. If he's just as good, then they're going to be okay.
He's training him. He's not going to be as good. We're going to have our growing pains with that.
Yeah, I don't want to see. But see, you know, because the Bradbury, Slay, those guys might come and go. Bradbury's probably on his last year. I think they won't bring him back.
Slay took less money to stay.
Slay did take less money, but again, you know, but those guys end up either wanting to get paid the next year. Like, you know, when they don't take pay cut for one, though they ain't taking it for two. they be like, actually, hey, we did.
The contract he signed was for 3 years, and he took less money because he's like he has money. What he doesn't have is a ring. And see, that's where the difference comes about. That's why when Brady was in New England, how many guys went there that were dirt cheap that should have been making much more money, but they wanted a chance at a ring, because not everybody's going to the Hall of Fame. It's not the Hall of Very Good; it's the Hall of Fame.
But they didn't. Nobody really.
Yeah,
went
people want
Patriots.
People want championships. Chris Long, he went to the Patriots, got a ring. Next year, he went to the Philadelphia Eagles and won a championship back to back. Anthony, I do have to ask you. Your Eagles, obviously defending NFC champions, lost a heartbreaker in the Super Bowl last year. I still think Jalen Hurts was the MVP of that game, but they don't want to give it to a player on a losing team. Only done that once in the history of the NFL. But I want you to finish these two sentences for me. The Philadelphia Eagles will win the Super Bowl this year because
the entire team is focused. They are more about getting the game won instead of individual stats. The other reason,
AJ Brown was throwing a hissy fit.
Hold up,
I don't know what the individual stats.
AJ Brown threw a hissy fit. He did.
Oh my God!
There's not a receiver in the world that's worth his salt that's not going to throw a fit once or twice. Not one.
Again, it's about your own stats because they won that game. So you can't be like he's about winning and then think it wasn't like they were losing and he was hitting. They were winning and he was mad he wasn't getting the numbers. Right. And then what they do, they force fed him enough where now Devontae Smith doesn't get any numbers and everything goes to AJ Brown.
Actually, no, but Devontae's dropped a few balls. Devontae's hurt.
He has. You're right. Yeah,
he's hurt. There's something wrong with Devontae.
There's something up there. You're right.
Yeah, he's not Waddle. That's the problem. He ain't Waddle.
No, he's and they just throw the
Waddle, honestly, as great as Waddle is with our offense, Waddle would be wasted.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Too many
Waddle would absolutely be wasted in the Eagles' offense. He would not look the same way. We wouldn't even know who he was if he was in the Eagles' offense. And that's the truth, because they do not like. The reason why we got Julio Jones is because we're trying to get a better slot receiver. Fact.
Yeah. Well,
the other reason we're going to win the NFC is because Dallas and the 49ers are going to cancel themselves, and my best friend is going to be Detroit and Seattle. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, I like Seattle.
I do like Seattle.
I hate Seattle with a passion. I only dislike the Dallas Cowboys. I've hated the Seahawks since they were in the AM. You know how long I've hated the Seahawks? Since Dave Craig was the quarterback.
Damn.
And you're an Eagle fan? They never even stopped you from doing anything. I don't remember any Eagles Seahawks game that was like
wait a minute. Do me a favor. When's the last time the Eagles beat the Seahawks?
Don't even remember a game between them, really. You know,
I remember games between them.
You know, when they were the Dave Craig years.
No, we didn't play with the Dave Craig years. The reason why I disliked him was because of that Derek Thomas game where he got 7 sacks, and I'm sitting there like looking at him going, "Oh yeah, they got this." Well, and Dave Craig is the luckiest quarterback. And after that, the other reason why I disliked them is because when they first came to the NFC West, they had a uniform that was almost identical to ours in color, except for they put on green pants with it as well.
Eagles gonna be good, man.
Some bird-on-bird crime there. So I asked you why they will win the Super Bowl, but why will the Philadelphia Eagles will not win the Super Bowl because of what?
The Eagles will not win the Super Bowl if Jalen Hurts gets hurt.
Yeah.
If Jalen Hurts gets hurt, then that takes away because I like Mariota, but he's broken. He's broken. He literally, he's broken.
Come on,
I don't
man.
like
Mariota. If
Mariota.
Mariota starts for you, it's over.
It's over, bro. It's over.
Listen,
Let me do something.
that's why he's the
I don't know,
backup. That's why I said if it hurts.
As a team that has lost a starting quarterback with MVP potential and then got on to win a Super Bowl with the backup in Nick Foles, who now is a statue at the link. Who knows? Maybe success can stretch
Nick
away.
Foles is
That was
different.
Peterson's
Nick
offense. That's
Foles
different.
only
This
plays
thing-
well in the Eagles uniform. He goes anywhere else, Nick Foles can't play for anything. Now, if you want to talk about this schedule, okay. One, Dallas comes to us, so we have to go to Washington, which we should win that game. Dallas comes to us, and they don't have us playing Sunday night. I have no idea why. I love that one. And then we get our bye week. So we're going to be out of these 3 games, I will say 2-1. We already beat Miami. We're either going to bring up a goose egg against Washington because of the excitement of beating Miami, because Washington is a trap game. Dallas, we're going to get up for. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. Then we go to the bye week. Now, after that is when we hit our 6-game stretch, which is quite nasty. So at Kansas City,
the worst stretches I've ever seen, bro.
Actually, it is nasty.
That's rough, bro. The case
Yeah,
of San Francisco, Dallas is nasty.
The only thing that saves us is the fact that 2 of our last 3 games are at home against weaker teams.
Yeah.
Because that game in Kansas City, I'm calling a toss-up because they are going to be hyped up for that game because they beat them. And usually in the NFL, if you lose in a Super Bowl, you usually beat them regular season.
And it'll be Taylor's first true test of her loyalty.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? I'm tired of them showing her she's a woman. That's it. Thank you very much.
I think the scary one is the San Francisco Dallas back-to-back. Not necessarily in a win standpoint, but there's such physical teams that
it might be
to get out of that healthy. And you know, that would be one of my things where it's like, man,
we're going to split with Dallas. We always split with Dallas, but there is a chance for us to sweep Dallas because if Dallas doesn't get their offense scoring over 20 points, we could drop 20 points on them no matter where we are. That's the truth.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to
San Fran, that all depends if Debo's back. If Debo's not back by that time, they're done. We're going to find out what San Fran is in the next 3 weeks. Because in every NFL season, usually week 6 and week 7 is when the winners start to separate. The pretenders are exposed. And then those that really are hungry are going to start to make some noise.
Yeah. You'll see it. I think those you know what? I think the Eagles probably going to be 1 or 2 seed. They're going to be there again. It's just really if Hurts can be healthy and because it's such Hurts reliant. And
he makes it go, man. Like Hurts makes
it go. But God, man,
every quarterback makes their team go. Literally. Yeah. You can't win. Listen.
Yeah,
I said last year that, when they talk about Dallas and they're like Cush, whatever his name was, looked good for 3 games. Okay, their defense stood up, the team backed him up. But if you don't have your starting quarterback, I don't care how bad they are, their backup is worse. I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So that's why they're the backup. And I don't know, we started talking about the Cowboys only scoring 20 points and somehow I dropped the call. Whoopsies.
No, but they haven't. I mean, literally, the way they're playing offense right now is they're trying to play to the defense. The problem is the Eagles know that defense. Y'all know our defense. But by then, we're going to get healthier. See, we're hurt now, believe it or not. Like our safeties, we're down to our practice squad safeties. That's the reason why they got Bird. And they got him for a song, a 5th and 6th pick. And then we traded him a free agent unsigned rookie?
It was a sweet
nuts.
How much years are on? I think they might have just did a salary dump as well, too. It almost looked like they didn't want to pay that and just gave it to you guys because I don't understand the trade itself, too.
They already paid majority of his. They've already paid majority of his salary. He only cost us $3 million this year and $2 million next.
The Titans have been trying to make the Eagles win since they gave you AJ Brown. I still don't understand what the hell there's going on down there.
That G got right after that too.
What's going on
in there? I feel they're in cahoots together. The way this is just.
Wait a minute, Roseman was in cahoots with New England. Look at how many of their Pro Bowl players left New England and came to the.
Yeah.
What was that?
Vegas is in cahoots with the Patriots as well.
Yeah, but we always get the shitty players. We get their crumbs, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
Steve.
they sell us some kind of goods, right? Fucking Josh McDaniels.
All right, so hey guys, thanks for giving me that break. By the way,
You're
needed the
welcome.
Hey,
bathroom.
man.
Hey, everybody on Clap. What's going on?
Anthony is one of my best friends ever, and Anthony, don't say it, but Anthony,
I'm
one
not
of my
going
best friends
to.
ever.
I was not going to.
Save that for our show on Wednesday nights. But I know Dan Rod jokes that I don't know if he's joking or he's serious. That my favorite segment of the show is the final word, but really my favorite segment of the show is Pick Six, and I'm hoping Dan Rod has one for tonight.
Absolutely. Pick six coming up in just a second. Although we've glossed over the fact that the Eagles did play the Dolphins. AC, do you want to give us 13 seconds, a Dan Marino amount of seconds on what you thought of the Dolphins, or you just want to go right past it?
Can you repeat the question?
We talking about
He
the
wants
Eagles
to know
Dolphins
what
game.
lost to us,
Did you
and
want
he
to talk
wants you
about your
to
Dolphins
explain it.
at all? I know that you're in the sports depression right now because your Dolphins lost. Do you want to spend any amount of time talking about your Dolphins?
Yeah,
we're just breezing right on past it.
I'm wearing black. I feel like I've lost not only a game but a family member. I'm distraught. I was beside myself. I was in full Dolphin regalia in somebody's driveway while they made fun of me. I had a white Waddle jersey. Boy, I was looking fucking amazing, and I was ready to win. I had shoes. I have Dolphin shoes, and I was wearing them. And I feel like I was embarrassed, put over the barn, and I was just smacked 2 times. And it just felt it was a deep. I left with 3 minutes left in the game because I couldn't stand to be looked at anymore by people who weren't Dolphins fans. And David Long had his best, some good parts. David Long had his our linebacker that we just acquired from Tennessee. Did great. Had his best game to date. Tua absolutely dropped the ball too many times, but that's just a testament to the front seven. How many of those people are in the face? And that was my thing. You got to get hands. And the times that we did get hands in Jalen's face, he threw an ugly ball. Now, anything. Remember last week how I was completely shitting on my defense? Well, this week I'm going to say that they did just a little bit better contextually, not actually, but I'm glad to see a little bit of what I wanted to see. If anything was going to be in this, which is progress from our newer players, first year players, the Fangio defense taking hold a little bit. We lost the game, and we did only generate 1 touchdown if you think about it. Which I was dying to tell you this. Tyreek burned that dude. So I just want to say that. And then that was really beautiful, but it wasn't enough. It was too much. It was too much pressure in his face. It was too much from the front seven. And that's the way you beat the Dolphins. You keep 2, and it's exactly, I couldn't say it earlier, but you keep 2 safeties deep. You take away that, and they only have the middle of the field. We're not a tight end team, so we can't use that big Gesicki guy to go across the field and grab that, and that would have helped if we actually used Durham Smythe, if we actually would have used one of these people with a big frame, maybe, so he didn't have to make that exact pinpoint pass. Maybe he had a bigger frame, bigger target to hit. But those are my takeaways. My takeaway still is that until we win a game again, I am going to be wearing black.
Yeah, that's the tough part about the NFL. Only 1 game per week. If your team loses, it puts you into that sports depression for an entire week. But we thank the NFL for supporting NFL HQ and the fact that they put the Jaguars, the Dolphins, and the Minnesota Vikings all on prime time this week so that our entire audience could watch 3 of our favorite teams all play. And they gave the Dallas Cowboys the week off as well. Wrapping up home field advantage very quickly. That game coming up in 2 weeks, Miami versus the Kansas City Chiefs. No true home field advantage because although Dave's Jaguars, no offense to them, are London's team, and London got the worst games, it felt like, year after year after year. The Frankfurt Germans, are getting a great game in Germany when the Kansas City Chiefs and Miami Dolphins will play with no true home field advantage over in Germany in 2 weeks' time. So that game will either be in Kansas City or Miami. But as we always do, home teams went 9-4 this week. As we love, the Bears beat the Raiders as a home dog, 2.5 points when it kicked off. The Patriots beat the Bills as a home dog, 7.5 point underdog at home. The Giants beat the Commanders at home as a home dog, +3 by kickoff. And of course, Brandon's Vikings won over the 49ers on Monday night. They were a 7-point home dog when it finally kicked off. So 9 of the teams that won were 4 teams of home dogs. 5 teams did cover as they won at home: the Ravens, Seahawks, Broncos, Chiefs, and Eagles. The Broncos is an interesting one because they were actually an underdog earlier in the week when we made our bets. They actually went off as a 1-point favorite by kickoff on Sunday. So 5 home teams all covered. 3 of the remaining 4 teams, 3 of the 4 home teams that lost were the favorite and lost outright. So the Saints, Buccaneers, and Rams were all favored at home and lost outright to the Jaguars, Falcons, and Steelers. The Colts were the only home underdog to lose. They lost 39-38 to the Cleveland Browns, but they did cover their 3.5-point spread. Take that for what it's worth for home field advantage. But moving right along, we'll give you 6 interesting stats that we feel are relevant water cooler material to talk with your friends throughout the week. Of course, in pick 6, and it's good that we have an Eagles fan joining us because there are some Eagles-centric stats, maybe not some Dolphins-friendly stats. We'll start with this one in the NFC East. So 11, 13, and 1. Did you know since 2022, the Washington Commanders were actually 11 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie in games where they had 1 takeaway or more, 0-8 in games without a takeaway in that span. However, this week, a 14-7 loss to the Giants now makes them 11-4-1 because they had 2 takeaways on Sunday, and they were actually big takeaways that almost led them to victory. They had a third quarter missed a fumbled punt by Sterling Shepard that led to their only touchdown. And then midway through the fourth quarter, they had a Saquon Barkley fumble recovered on a goal-to-go situation in their own end. They drove the ball the entire way down the field before a 4th and 5 pass that went incomplete, a turnover on downs with 56 seconds left. So 2 key turnovers there that almost contributed to that stat. However, it did not happen. So we go from 11-3-1 to 16-1. So with a 38-6 win over the Detroit Lions on Sunday, Lamar Jackson improved his record versus an NFC opponent to 16-1, 8-0 at home. Heading into the game at 15-1, his .938 win percentage was the best by any NFL QB against an opposing conference since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger, with, of course, at least 5 career starts. His lone loss came Week 6 to the pesky New York Giants. So the Giants screwed up the stat for the Commanders. They also screwed up this stat for Lamar Jackson. And in that game last year, Week 6, Baltimore was actually up 20-10 with 6:02 left before losing 24-20. In case you're wondering, NFC teams, Lamar Jackson will see the Arizona Cardinals in Week 8 in Arizona, the Seattle Seahawks in Week 9, the Los Angeles Rams in Week 14, and he has never faced the Green Bay Packers or Chicago Bears. So 16-1 Lamar Jackson against the NFC. Even better than that, so hold my beer, Lamar Jackson, 17-0. By beating the 2-3, now 2-4 Chargers at home on Sunday, Patrick Mahomes improved to 17-0 all time when playing at home versus a team with a losing record. The Kansas City Chiefs won 31-17 and had many other impressive stats as well. Mahomes had 321 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. The second time in his career, he has had a half with at least 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Keep in mind, that's one half. Many quarterbacks can't even do that for an entire game. He finished the game with 424 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. That is Patrick Mahomes' 5th time ever completing a game with 400 or more yards passing and 4 touchdowns. He ties Drew Brees for 3rd all-time for the most games of this type of nature. Mahomes has only had 87 career starts to accomplish the feat. Drew Brees had 286 career starts to accomplish that feat. In case you're wondering, Peyton Manning has 8 career games of 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in 265 starts. And Dolphins legend Dan Marino, so shout out to AC, he is next on the Patrick Mahomes hit list. He has 7 career games where he threw for at least 400 yards and 2 TDs. He did that in only 240 starts. So again, Mahomes, 400 yards, 4 TDs, 5 times now, only 87 career starts.
Love that graphic.
Keeping in tune with blemished or unblemished records, 9-0. So with a 31-17 win on Sunday night against the Miami Dolphins, unfortunately, Jalen Hurts improved to 9-0 against teams with a winning record since the start of the 2022 season. Hurts and the Eagles went 15-1 with him under center in 2022, only losing Week 10, 32-21 at home against the Washington Commanders, who entered the game at 4-5, and they are 6-1 this year, losing last week, as we know, 20-14 to the New York Jets, who were 2-3 at the time. So Jalen Hurts at home, undefeated against teams with a winning record, or since 2022, undefeated against teams with a winning record. He will play Washington this week, who does not have a winning record, so he could lose that one. As it stands right now, he plays Dallas coming up in 2 weeks, who should still have a winning record, or at least 500, so we'll see. Kansas City and Buffalo to follow. So we will see if that trend continues, because he could be playing teams with winning records coming up the next few games. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, our next stat will be 137, because as an Eagles fan, I'm sure Anthony would know that Jalen Hurts' top target, A.J. Brown, finished Sunday night with 10 receptions, 137 yards, and a touchdown. The 137 yards marks the 5th straight game Brown has had 125 or more receiving yards, which ties the longest such streak in NFL history, with 2 former Lions. Calvin Johnson did that in 2012, and Pat Studstill did that in 1966. I think Anthony might have been the only one that watched that game in 1966. No offense to you, Anthony. He will try and make it 6 straight games and set the new record this week against Washington. So we will see if A.J. Brown can top 125 and have the record all to himself. And finally, 13, and that is not because it is Taylor Swift's favorite number, but with a 30-12 loss in Chicago, Raiders quarterback, former Patriot, Brian Hoyer extended his losing streak as a starter to 13 straight games. The streak dates back all the way to 2016 and spans 5 different teams: New England, Indianapolis, San Francisco, Chicago, and Las Vegas.
God.
So only rookie Deshaun Kaiser, who lost 15 straight games for the Cleveland Browns in 2017, a team that went 0-16, has lost more consecutive starts in the last 10 years. So Brian Hoyer has lost 13 consecutive starts since 2016, spanning 5 teams. And if you do the math, that's 4, 7, like 8 seasons, I believe. So it's tough to be. There's a couple things you can trust in life, and I guess one of them is Brian Hoyer losing a start as a quarterback in the NFL.
Back off that, Dan. I have a live feed from him arriving at the stadium.
I gotta see it.
Oh, fucking God.
But again,
kill
even
me.
if it was, we cannot deny that was Brian Hoyer. But the one thing I say is the man that still can't win games as a starting quarterback still plans to be in the league all this time.
But you know, the interesting thing about Brian Hoyer is that they know this, but yet somebody has to back up every single year.
That's correct. Especially
They're
if
trying to get Caleb Williamson.
Yeah, that's the thing. And guess what? I have a little bit of news as far as Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray. Now you're doing it, buddy. Give me that. Give me a thumbs up. What's this all about? Don't we do jazz hands and you get some your little animatronic shit? So Kyler Murray's coming back ahead of schedule. I know he's super hurt, but his friends are saying, "Oh, there you go, hard it up." So his friends are saying, he's coming back. He's coming back, but when he comes back, he's not coming back to suck. Kyler Murray said. And how do we know that? A little bit of conspiracy. Guess what happens if the Arizona Cardinals do suck and get that number 1 pick? Kyler Murray's out of a job because Caleb is going to get picked. So Kyler Murray's coming back ahead of schedule to get them out of the first round, the first pick in the first round, and to be able to save his own job. So that's what I'm thinking.
I just play them out of picking a quarterback.
That's right, picking a quarterback to take his job.
The Bears got the first pick overall.
Oh, Arizona's on its way.
Now, but see, because Carolina's pick.
We're getting going on with our audio. We're all hearing
feedback from somewhere. It's not my end, I promise.
It's not feedback from me.
Or maybe it is.
Go, Brandon.
Hello? I think it's my side.
Yeah, you're out of sync again if you want to turn on and off.
All right, so AC, I do need to. Yeah, we're. Hello.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Let me take this moment to say thank you, everybody, for being on Clapper. We are NFL HQ, and we do this every week on Tuesday nights. We're going to do this live stream, and we do it on YouTube. If you guys actually want to see my other compatriots, let us know because we're sharing graphics. We're looking at schedules. We're talking about your team if you want your team to be talked to or about. So let us know. That way we can drop a link and you guys can watch on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, whatever you prefer. We're everywhere.
Let me ask this question, everybody, since it's my first time being here, but I do love the show and watch it a lot. Dave, if you had to pick a lock, and you cannot include your own team, if you had to pick a lock, one out of the AFC, one out of the NFC, who do you think is guaranteed to win this Sunday coming?
That's coming. That's called Better Sweet. That's our last segment. Oh yeah, we're gonna pick it today. Oh yeah, I got you. We break it up. We break it up by segments to keep it clean. But yeah, you're on the right track. And wait till you see my record, buddy.
And clearly we invited Anthony to the show, but Anthony's never actually seen or heard the show. So Anthony, we want you to listen in each and every week to NFL HQ going forward, please.
Absolutely, please, absolutely. Can you hear us? You good? Everybody good?
You can hear. We just hear ourselves. That's the problem.
I can hear everybody. So Anthony, if you can't hear us,
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, good. Okay, perfect. But I didn't want to deflect the question. That's part of the show is picking our lock. So stick around until that happens. We want to know yours too.
Yeah, so Batter Sweet will come at the end of the show, as it always does. But again, just to recap pick six. So 11, 3-1, 17 0, 16 1, 9 0, 137 and 13 in that order, not in that order. Those were your pick six stats from week 7. We talked about Kyler Murray maybe coming back. Let's talk about a few of the injuries very quickly of players we may or may not see heading into week 8, dealing with some boo-boos and boo-hoos from week 7. The first one's an interesting one. It's Bijan Robinson, the running back for the Atlanta Falcons. He did not play most of the game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday, reportedly dealing with an illness. It was puzzling why he was in the game at all, why he dressed, did not perform up to his standards, but we will monitor Bijan Robinson going forward, possibly about with food poisoning or the flu. We're just speculating. There's no real word as to what's going on with Bijan Robinson. In Buffalo, the tight end, Dawson Knox, will undergo surgery for an injured wrist, so he will miss some time, and that'll be an interesting injury for the Buffalo Bills. They do have the rookie Dalton Kincaid, hopefully to come in and take some snaps there. Around the league, there weren't too many other injuries of note. Another tight end, Gerald Everett, got hurt for the Chargers. Nick Bolton, a linebacker for the Chiefs, so keep an eye on that. Jalen Hurts was the last one out of the locker room at halftime with the Philadelphia Eagles and was seen wearing a knee brace. His head coach says he will be just fine and doesn't expect him to be sidelined for week 8, but that is something to monitor because Jalen Hurts wearing a knee brace for the second half of last week. And then probably the most puzzling injuries and the one that is most worth noting from week 7 is in Cleveland. So first of all, running back Jerome Ford went down with an injury late in the fourth quarter, and he was diagnosed with what is described as a low-grade ankle sprain, which could have sidelined him for 1 or 2 weeks. So obviously we know about Nick Chubb, and he's gone for the season. So will that be Kareem Hunt being the bell cow for the Cleveland Browns heading into week 8? And of course, we cannot talk injuries without talking about the only injury that is probably on the forefront of most NFL fans this week. And that is, of course, the curious case, not of Benjamin Button, but of Deshaun Watson. He started the game finally this week against the Colts. He was 1 for 5, threw an interception, took a big hit on another throw that possibly could have been intercepted, fell hard, landed on the back of his head. It did look like he was possibly motionless, or at least, something was wrong for a few seconds while he laid on the turf. He did go through concussion protocol. Now, here's where the story really takes a turn. Apparently, he cleared concussion protocol, so he was cleared by doctors and that independent physician on the sideline to go back in the game, but he did not return to the game. It was P.J. Walker who finished that one out, and head coach Kevin Stefanski said that he kept him out of the game to keep him from hurting himself, and possibly he re-aggravated that shoulder injury that had kept him out for the 2 weeks before that. So really, this curious case of Deshaun Watson continues. And the good news, if you're a Browns fan, is I think there's only $190 million guaranteed for the next 3 years that you owe this man. So it's not too hefty of a price tag, I say facetiously, with Deshaun Watson. But we will see if he is good to go coming up for the Browns this week. He will be the probably most pressing injury. Other than that, anybody else got an injury that needs to come up, or should we move right along to fact or fiction?
Ooh.
I don't think I really saw an injury that was that really shows anything. I don't know. You guys may think something.
What a change, because this has been horrible with injuries and bad ones, catastrophic ones. So I'm glad to see one that we don't have to spend 15 minutes on everybody.
And that being said, these are the the injuries about the players that matter to us in fantasy football, the players that are started. There are definitely people that got injured that are maybe your backups, some of the O-line.
Yeah, we don't care about them.
Who we don't really care about them because we don't start them in fantasy football. So we'll move right along to fact or fiction, where one of us will give a statement, and we will decide if that statement isn't true factual, or if that statement is fictitious. So I believe AC said he had one to start us off today. So AC, fact or fiction, go ahead and start us off.
Got it. It's about my Dolphins, and I will ask this, and I will say that, is it fact or fiction? Is it realistic to think that Tyreek Hill will break the all-time receiving single-season record with over 2,100 yards?
Fact.
Fiction.
Ooh, Brandon, why fiction?
Yeah, fiction. It's tight. As the season goes on, you do get nicked up a little bit. You have to kind of go for that record usually, times or not, and they just have other weapons as well too. When Megatron did it, there was no secondary really receiver, and so he got all the catches. They have Waddle. They still run it with Mustard. They'll have good games. I just something. He'll just come up short. Just a little bit. Nothing. It won't take anything away from the season.
All right. Anthony, what do you think about my
I say fact.
Why?
The reason why I'm saying fact is because while, yes, Waddle's there, but Waddle has a back injury. And in the NFL, with a back injury, it usually knocks you out for like 3 to 4 weeks. You can play at spots, but one hit and you're out because you're in pain. So he's going to be the focal point of the next. Okay, so there it is. He's at 902 yards. There's 10 games left. He only has to average 105 yards when he's there.
And play every game.
Right.
You know what? He knows how to avoid injury quite well. There are times when he just either blows through people and he just literally, I mean, because there's a couple of hits he should have gotten in the Eagles game that he just outright sped through that one. Until I saw that game, I mean, I knew how fast he was in Kansas City. But in the Dolphins, that is a completely different kettle of fish. Hey, Dave's back.
Yeah, and they'll start blanketing him, running to things there. They're going to open it up for other people, and they still love to run the football, and so I think he's gonna get very close. It's just one of those records where it's like, man, if he can do it, I just think he's gonna come up a little short. Something just weird happens, you get.
I will say this:
like that.
If Tyreek Hill gets that record, the Dolphins are not going to do much in the playoffs.
Why? But you think he's going to be spent by then? He's just going to be like
he's going to be worn out.
Worn out. He's
going to be flat out worn out. And then when the playoffs come, they treat you a little different. They treat you a little different. He's not going to get off that line as easily.
I don't think it's a good wild card team. You do, that is what CD gets. Sometimes you just get that good path. You're an Eagles fan. Like last year, if you get a Danny Dimes and then a Josh Johnson, you get yourself in the Super Bowl in 2 games, right? So
you can say what you want about Danny Dimes, but he did go up in Minnesota and beat a team that had won 4 more games than he had.
He did. Don't get me wrong. There is upsets in there. I'm not knocking that. But I'm like
consistently be that guy. Yeah. I don't know. Last year,
it wasn't like they beat Lamar and then Burrow or something like.
But you know what? That is honestly to point it out. The NFL has kind of returned to its heyday, which was in the 90s, where the AFC had numerous quarterbacks that were excellent, and then your defenses were on the NFC side.
Yeah,
I mean that's the reason why they won 13 straight. But, I mean, you're talking about 13 straight, and let's be honest here. In the 90s, there are 5 quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame right now that should be Marino, Elway, Kelly, Kosar. Who was the one?
Kosar.
4.
I'd be Warren Moon, maybe some other guys. I'm not going to give Bernie that.
Yeah, he's in. He was a Houston Oiler.
Yeah, they're on there, but all those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Bernie even goes to the Hall of Fame.
So you had out of 16 teams, 5 that are in the Hall of Fame. When you mention quarterbacks from the NFC during that same era, you got Aikman, you got Montana.
Well, no, you also have Favre, and I think also
Favre wasn't in that era.
Jim Kelly,
early 90s, right?
Yeah, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah,
it was 92.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how we got all these different quarterbacks from the NFC and AFC when we're talking Tyreek Hill and will he catch Calvin Johnson. I will say this.
You know what? Because where it happened is because quite literally, if Tyreek Hill gets the record for getting the most yards, that means that Miami's either too far behind or they are constantly trying to outscore people because their defense isn't doing what they need to do. And if that happens,
the dog either agrees or disagrees. I could not distinguish that bark.
It was a
I will say 2 different things. One, are we going to first of all, nobody really cares about a lot of records in the NFL. Are we going to devalue records or put this asterisk because if he breaks the record in 17 games versus 16 games, does that matter? That being said, 902 yards for the season. Calvin Johnson's all-time record, 1,964 yards. Do the math. That is 1,062 yards away. If he breaks it in 9 games, got to average 118 yards a game. 10 games, 106.2 yards a game. That does not sound out of the question for Tyreek Hill. I don't think the Dolphins need to be trailing or anything like that. I think what Mike McDaniel joked that his goal was 5 weeks of the all-time production for an offense, mission accomplished. I think he's a coach that likes to see his team put up stats, likes to come up with creative things on offense, and this team will push for this record. fairly or unfairly. And I say, why not go for it? It's an interesting story for the Dolphins. I don't think they need to be losing. I think they could be winning and putting up big yardage. Tyreek Hill could get 80, 90 yards on a single play, which is almost more than half of what he'd need for 106 per game. And again, either the Dolphins are going to set some sort of record with Tyreek Hill, or they're going to set some sort of rushing record, because you cannot keep playing safeties that high to stop Tyreek Hill and not stop the run unless you are the Philadelphia Eagles, who they no longer play on the schedule. And we also don't know what the yards translates to in Germany, what the currency exchange is there. So we could see some big totals coming from Frankfurt. So I will say,
can we count it in kilometers?
Tyreek Hill becomes the first 2,000. I will even say not only breaks the record, becomes the first 2,000-yard receiver we ever see. Dave?
So you also think facts. So we've got a fiction, a fact, and a fact. Well, I will go with fan fact. Yeah, he'll break it. Dude, he's the quickest guy in the NFL. Not only that, they've got 2 or 3 other guys on there that are also the quickest in the NFL. I mean, they are going to keep running up the scoreboard. You're right, Dan Rod. They don't have to play the Philadelphia Eagles every single week. We've got enough weeks in the season. They are going to keep airing it out just like they do. They're really good at what they're doing. They're going to continue it, and Tyreek Hill will break that. It is a fact. That is my answer. Now I'm done.
It could be an early Christmas gift to you, as on Christmas Eve, your Miami Dolphins take on my Dallas Cowboys.
From your words to God's ears.
That's in the Bible. All right. Other than that, we have one more fact or fiction from Brandon today. So, Brandon, what is your fact or fiction question?
I was going to say this is a fact or fiction. You're probably is it? I think the Purdy thing's done. And so fact or fiction is that, like, Purdy was always a product of Kyle Shanahan's system, just like every other quarterback kind of was there. As you see Garoppolo struggling in Las Vegas, is that I think Shanahan's probably one of the best offensive coaches ever, and the way he can design an offense to get guys open, where the quarterback, it's almost like is just throw it here, stupid. And then when they're having to ask these guys to win the game, he always gets guys that don't lose the game, but this is where he runs into it. There's once a time where these guys actually have to win it. And I think that he's starting to realize that he's going to need a quarterback that can finally win a game, not just getting these cheap guys that can win, just not lose it.
What's your fact or fiction question?
My fact or fiction is that
is Purdy done?
Is the product of Shanahan's system,
and that he's whack as hell.
Yeah, he's a Garoppolo. Oh, he's a bottom of the. He's just a guy, just
younger. The problem is he's younger, so he might stretch it out a little bit. But he was.
I will say that's a fact.
You could put like 30 quarterbacks in there and get the same result.
Anthony,
I will say that's a fact. As far as him being a product of the system, because truth of the matter is, every quarterback in the NFL is a product of their system. If they tailor it to what your strengths are, the reason why he's picture perfect for the 49ers is because even when he was in Iowa State, he didn't have the strongest arm. He wasn't bombing things out. He was 20 yards and shallow. That's his sweet spot, which is where Shanahan wants to be.
And McDaniel.
Agreed.
He was the last pick overall. Shanahan didn't want this guy.
First, that was a lucky one. Brady was a 6th rounder. Terrell Davis was a 7th rounder. Shannon Sharp was a 7th rounder.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys that, they don't know their stats, but you can't measure heart.
No, but you're not tailoring Shanahan's not tailoring no offense for no.
No, he just fit him in it.
Pretty sure medical science can measure a heart, but.
Well, I mean, it can measure hard, but
tell me this though. If you put Derek Carr in that offense, they get the same result. If you drop, Jalen Hurts, like how many quarterbacks did you say? If I drop you in, I'll get the same thing out of him.
If Jalen Hurts was in that system, all jokes aside, they're going 20-0. They go 20-0.
What?
They don't play it many games.
Can I make a bonus 6 stat for this very quickly? Yeah. So you're saying, sorry, I dropped out for a second, but let's just say it's maybe not Brock Purdy, maybe it's not Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe it wouldn't be Jalen Hurts. Maybe Kyle Shanahan is the problem. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. When trailing by 5 or more points entering the 4th quarter, the 49ers are 0-29 under Kyle Shanahan since 2017. They are the only team without a win in that situation since 2017. So again, they are 0-29 when entering the fourth quarter, trailing by 5 or more points. The
That's
only team to
ego.
not win a game
That's
since
Shanahan
2017 in that
because he's getting
situation.
quarterbacks that don't lose. And the problem is when you're down, you ask your quarterback to win a game, and these guys can't do it, right? And so when this is the problem, see, this is what hits them a lot of times too in the playoffs too, is even the Super Bowl. It's just sometimes you need, yeah, you need a guy to win the game.
A stud to win you the game. You say, hey,
Yeah, like you have to win me one. Like we're down by 10. We're like nobody's gonna beat Mahomes. Where Mahomes always comes back and down by 14 and wins the game. But any of these guys get down, whether it was he had a list of quarterbacks. That's why you're gonna see him always have this because he's able to get these cheap quarterbacks. That's how you build the roster. That's how you can afford a McCaffrey, afford a Deebo Samuels, is because he doesn't have to pay these guys. And as soon as they have to pay Purdy, he's going to get another schlep for, a fourth-round draft pick from, Minnesota State.
So just, Brandon, very quickly, once again, what is the factor fiction
Factor
question?
fiction,
Is it factor fiction?
Shanahan, it's
Is Brock
Shanahan's
Purdy?
system. No matter who the quarterback is, he's, whether it's Purdy or anybody else.
Are they successful, or they're never going to win the big one?
No, they'll never win the big one.
never win.
Or is it just
No,
factor
they'll never win the
fiction?
big one.
They're never going to win the.
Never. Until he gets a quarterback, unless he goes and spends money for a quarterback, then I would say so.
Well,
Well, I will say, I'm not sure if I'm on the right side of this, but I'll say it's fact until he can prove otherwise. Not that it's Brock Purdy that's holding him back, but we haven't seen Kyle Shanahan be able to put it together and win the big one. He's gotten there a few times. He has lost leads. Famously, he was the offensive coordinator that lost that lead to the Patriots when they were the Falcons. And then, of course, he lost the lead with Jimmy Garoppolo, leading the Kansas City Chiefs before Mahomes came back and won his first Super Bowl. So I will say right now, fact, Kyle Shanahan and his system will not win a Super Bowl, but it's not because of Brock Purdy. And I hope that they prove us wrong. If the Cowboys can't win it, I hope the 49ers can somehow beat the Eagles if Anthony can still hear me.
Or the Vikings.
He can still hear. Dude, you're in your back and forth. Or the Vikings.
You're a
Factor.
Vikings fan, misery is all you get. You get a 15-1 season with a field goal miss. You get a Dante Culpepper season where they lose
wide
against
left.
the Giants in the NFC
Wide
Championship.
left. I remember.
You get a Brett Favre season where he turns his ankle and you lose in overtime against the fucking Saints.
Yeah,
Heartache,
I shouldn't have thrown that interception.
And flip-flopping is what you get when you're Vikings fan.
God, now you keep talking about the Vikings. What's the damn question? Or can San Francisco do it? Is that the question? Can they still
Sure, let's
do it
just
with
pretend
Purdy?
that's the question.
Yeah, basically.
Let's go with that.
All right, well.
Can Kyle Shanahan be successful with that system? Fact or fiction? So basically you're asking, can Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, can this marriage lead San Francisco to success?
Okay, we talked about this. We touched on it a little bit last week. And you said, and we were talking about Purdy, and I said one of the things about Purdy is he's winning. He's winning. And you said, hold on. And you said, you give me Kittle and McCaffrey, and I can win with whoever your damn quarterback is. And but that's what you said. And that is the reason that, no, they can still absolutely win this Super Bowl. And Purdy can be enough. He can be the Jim McMahon to lead him to that and just be enough. It doesn't mean he's amazing.
He could be the Dilfer.
It means he can be the Trent Dilfer to lead him into that Super Bowl. So yes,
is he defense? That's it. There's a Hall of Fame defense.
But he's got to have enough around him and not lose the games to be able to be enough. The rest of that team's good enough.
You can't win a Super Bowl, not lose it. You have to win a Super Bowl. You can't go not lose it.
No. There's multiple times in history where that's been wrong. You can just be good enough. Trent Dilfer, Jim McMahon, you can just be good enough.
But those are great.
Those are the best two defenses of all time.
Well, you're okay. All right. So is this defense not good enough? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, give me who just the average quarterback with a pretty good defense. Where do they go?
All right.
That's true.
So,
everybody's middle of the road, maybe not. But if there's an exceptional defense and a mediocre,
I just need a Ray Lewis and a Brian Urlacher and like you need Mike Singletary, and then of course he can win it.
I'm not saying they're gonna win the Super Bowl this year, but I'm certainly not saying they're done. This is 1 week, dude.
No, they're not done. They're still a great team, but there's going to be a
Okay.
game when he's going to need to win it for him, and I think
You don't see
he's
that
gonna
in him
cut-
yet.
He's gonna, yeah, because you're going to ask him like, "Hey, we're down by 10. Defense is kind of
Okay, well that ain't
Throw it
okay.
to the-
That's
get me
not
out of
happening.
here." And
Right.
that's when you the teams
Throw it to
that win the
Kittle.
Super Bowl at least
Throw it to
one
Kittle.
game you have to do that.
Yeah, that's it. Throw it to Kittle.
One game you're gonna like they're down. You come out flat like and can you get them back into it? Whether it's been Tom Brady over and over again. Even that one year with
Fair
like
enough.
Joe Flacco won it. That was
see, you
throws
brought
that
up another
bomb
one.
to Broncos and stuff. You have to when you get down in the playoffs and it happens very fast. Can you put it on someone? And it kind of showed me that unless they have a lead and everything's running right, then everything's gonna be okay. But it just doesn't work like that in January.
All right. You know what?
And even though the Cowboys didn't play this week, it sounds like we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, a team that loves to lead and be front runners, but when they get behind. But yes, I guess the only way to be tested, he was undefeated for so long, but is to have to come back in some games. The kicker missed a kick against a very good Cleveland team, and they lost that one, or at least a very good Cleveland defense. And of course, on the road in that very hostile environment in Minnesota, your Vikings get the win. Fun fact, the word pain was actually AC's word of the week way back in week 4. Brandon was talking about pain with all those Viking losses way back when. But that brings us to the final word of week 7. Even though my Cowboys were on the bye week, I will not talk about how a bye was my word of the week. But we will say goodbye to week 7 with our final word now. And we'll start with Dave.
Hello.
Dave, why don't you give us our final word? Because I don't know if I said it last week, but it is your favorite segment. And I always go to you first, it seems like.
This is my second favorite segment, by the way, but I do have an actual final word. My final word for this week, I don't remember what it was from last week. I'm sure Dan Rod, but
Parody.
Parody. Oh, see, look at you. You write shit down.
It's around parody.
My final word this week is reality. I mean, reality. We're all back to
just real quick.
Go ahead.
That AC's word last week.
All right.
Reality.
Well,
go on.
Look at you.
Go.
This week is reality, and here's what I mean by it is, you know what? Philadelphia and Kansas City, they are, ESPN is ranking them number 1 and number 2. They were there last year. They know how to win. Going down the rest of the stretch of the season, they know how to win. Whether they lose a trap game here or there, or whether they don't look all that great, they are still the teams to beat. Back to reality. My team didn't look all that great. Minnesota didn't look all that great. Minnesota is coming back. I'm pointing the wrong way. I'm reversed. I'm sorry. Minnesota's coming back. There are still the teams to beat from last year, and they have done it not year after year, but yeah, year after year now. Once the season keeps stretching out, we're going to see Detroit lose a game or two. Yeah, they looked amazing. They look flashy, look great. So does my team. So does the Minnesota Vikings look great this past time. But Miami, they look great, and we're all excited about it. But then we get just back to reality. These teams,
like historically great, and then the crap.
Yeah.
That's worse.
Dude.
It's like
And we'll just give a
I
quick
don't know
shout out because even the
historically.
Chicago Bears with a undrafted Division II quarterback in Tyson Bagent, who we mentioned last week was out of the College of Shepherd, which is in West Virginia,
you say so.
won a game as a starting quarterback.
Well,
so shout out to Tyson Bagent.
if any of the parity teams from last week are going to really get it done going down the stretch and into the playoffs, they got to really beat these reality teams, Philadelphia, Kansas City. They're going to be there. They are going to be the teams to beat. Whether they look great week to week, doesn't matter. They have it. My team doesn't have it yet. They keep making mistakes. We've got to learn to continue to work together. I think, AC, you can probably attest to this. They've got to figure it out for the long haul, not just be the flashy, sweet team that scores a fucking lot of points in 1 week. We've got to consistently do it week to week and know how to do it and be able to beat these two teams, Kansas City and Philadelphia.
And not get injured and hope, and there's so many facets to it. And the other team's not going to, get injured at the right times. Maybe, there's so many different moving parts in the NFL season. It's so long and it's so arduous that, yeah, sure. Everything you just said, I do agree with, but also you need to get a little lucky because even if everything goes for you,
Truth.
you're not going to, look what happened to the Patriots. Everything was perfect that 2007 year, and that's what it was. So,
All right. And after saying all those words, AC, why don't you give us your final word from week 7?
I'm going to be very quick. My final word is funeral. Funeral.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm having a funeral today, and yesterday, and Sunday night, and tomorrow, and Saturday. I'm having a funeral every day. Brandon?
Until next week.
That's
I was
it.
just gonna say,
Damn,
AC, so you're burying the Dolphins,
You lost
but
to an,
you
and
believe like the
it's a loss to an
Undertaker.
NFC team, so there really doesn't even hurt on the tiebreakers.
No,
You
it's
won't even see that team again. So
and the Bills lost and the Patriots won.
yeah, so like if any time to take a loss, it was probably going to be that one.
People talk shit now. They what they robbed from me? My time with sports media and sports radio. I don't want to hear any of it because
that always sucks.
it's going to be
when your team loses a big game.
they were never good enough. There's a flash in the pan. It was a fluke. They haven't played anybody. All the people.
Oh man, you talking about the Vikings from last year? Are you kidding me? That's all I heard. We were just a paper champs.
So my word, Brandon. What's your final word?
Incompetent. Just a ton of bad coaches out there. It's ridiculous. You have guys that shouldn't have jobs: Josh McDaniels, Dennis Allen's, Brandon Staley's, Todd Bowles, whoever, Matt Eberflus, just really bad, Ron Rivera, like just guys that are just thumping away, taking paychecks. These guys just getting. Josh McDaniels has lost to that third string quarterback or Sam guy from Shepherd and Jeff Saturday. I don't know how you not fire that guy, right?
Right, dude.
Dennis Allen finds ways to make the Saints look terrible. And then, just it's a laundry list of guys that are, because the coaching carousel gets so fiery and so fast that these guys end up with jobs. Todd Bowles has been terrible. He's going to mess around and end up missing the playoffs again, even with that good start. And so it's just like you see these guys in there basically finding ways to lose. Brandon Staley, oh my God, man. He cannot say he runs defense. Like whatever that was, was just ridiculous, crazy. Right? Crazy. And with the highest paid defensive side, right? And so to me, it's coaching.
Yeah. With Khalil Mack. You can't make it up.
Oh, and Darwin James. And
as a testament to us and football fans, we haven't even talked really about officiating or penalties. Speaking of incompetent, I didn't really see too much of the game, I'll be honest. But the Dolphins game, 10 penalties to the Dolphins, 0 penalties on the Philadelphia Eagles. Not too often does it happen where a team gets a 10-0 penalty advantage. Does the team not even kick a penalty in a game? But my final word of week 7 will be narrative. So narrative is defined as a way of presenting or understanding a situation or series of events that affects and promotes a particular point of view or set of values. And of course, in talking in the NFL and week 7 narrative, you probably heard this word thrown around a lot. Actually, in talking before the show started, AC threw out that word when we were just talking about the Dolphins. And of course, the narrative. All we heard leading into this week was the Dolphins' record and against the teams that they played. And maybe the Dolphins weren't real. As Dallas Cowboys fans, we always hear the narratives being spun about Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, our team. Can we win? Can we not win? We've even spun a few narratives today about Brock Purdy, and maybe he is not everything we thought he would be. So through 7 weeks of the NFL, there's a lot of narratives out there, and everyone can tell the story the way they want to tell it and spin it however they want to spin it. Excuse me.
Right.
And so
words are hard.
Through week 7, exactly. Just trust me, I couldn't spell incompetent, let alone be competent enough to spell it without the N. But anyways, narratives. So just everybody out there that's watching NFL, as fans of NFL, AC, I know you're staying away from all the Dolphins talk because you don't want to hear these narratives that people are spinning. At the end of the season, there will be 2 teams that play for the Super Bowl. There'll be a narrative leading up to it, a narrative leading out of it, but only one will walk away with a Lombardi. So choose to sculpt the narrative you wish for your team, your fan base throughout the weeks. Don't buy into the narratives you don't want to buy into, and just understand that there are plenty of people talking football, many of whom are smarter than us, and probably many who are maybe not. NFL HQ, not to be confused with high IQ, as I like to say sometimes. That's our new slogan.
But other than that, we say there was no good games.
No.
There was no good games last week. There was only one good game, which was the Eagles and Miami. I think there was a lot of
And that wasn't even good. That was pretty boring.
Yeah, but it was just like those were the 2 teams. Like everything else was playing like someone versus a loser and stuff. And so,
dude, mine almost went to overtime.
Well, speaking narratives, you had the 5-1.
That was a Thursday night game, kind of a thing where it was like, but yeah, that was the marquee matchup, and so they're going to focus on it throughout this week where if you had a couple better games in there, it probably just got lost in the shuffle.
Yep.
Well,
But it was
speaking
just
of
such a
narrative,
bad week,
again, the
nobody wants to
Lions,
talk
were they the
about
best team
Browns and
possibly in the
Colts.
NFC? The Lions now, they are the same old Lions. You know, that narrative is being spread. So there were some good games out there. But again, yes, maybe some that were not as
I heard with Lamar
celebrated.
16-1 versus NFC teams because they don't see him much, and anytime you get, where they
can't
just
replicate it.
can't prepare for you. I'm surprised there.
That's a great stat. 16-1 for Lamar against NFC teams.
But yeah, especially when they see
He
him for the
only
first
lost
time.
to the Gigantes. Those Giants, they just break streaks here and there.
Yeah, that damn
And
Giants.
I think they scored in the first half this week. So congratulations
Yeah.
to the Giants.
Hey, congratulations on
scoring
your first touchdown.
first half touchdown. So we say goodbye to week 7. We close the book on week 7. We look forward to week 8. And as we always do to wrap up the show, we will give you our Better Sweet segment where we will give you our lock and our underdog. And we might run the table with AC, as we like to say, as we try and put together maybe a parlay ticket. So just recapping from week 7. We had I was terrible once again. I had my lock for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost outright to the Falcons. I had my underdog of the Detroit Lions at Baltimore, which you just mentioned. And not only did they not cover or win the game, they lost handily. For Dave, that was also his underdog, so he lost that one. Unfortunately, Dave, similar to me, also lost his lock pick of the week because he had the Packers as his lock, who were a 1-point favorite on Tuesday night over the Denver Broncos. But that does lead to Brandon being successful on his underdog pick because he had the Broncos at +1 beating the Packers. They won outright 19-17, so he hit on that. However, he was very wrong on his lock pick of the Bills -8.5 against the Patriots, who not only did not cover the 8.5, they did not get the W at all at 29-25 for the Patriots, which leads you to the record totality of the three of us as 5 losses, 1 win. However, even though he is at a funeral today for his Dolphins, AC, who 2 weeks ago gave you a underdog and a lock of the Browns covering and beating the 49ers before he even knew Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play, this week, his 2 picks were the Seattle Seahawks as his lock to beat the Cardinals by 7.5. They won by 10. And his underdog were the New York Giants, only a 1.5-point dog at the time. That went up to 3, I believe, as mentioned earlier today, against the Commanders at home, who won 14-7. So, again, a 2-0 record for AC, as the Seahawks were his lock and the Giants were his underdog, and they both hit. So we congratulate AC once again. So if you are listening to this segment for entertainment purposes only, do not believe what any of us say, except for maybe AC. However, this now puts the pressure squarely on his shoulders. He is feeling like, and I'm sure they do this, the Miami Dolphins heading into Philadelphia with the weight of the world and expectations on their shoulders. Meanwhile, I am the lowly, I don't know, Carolina Panthers, let's say. And as we head into week 8, let's highlight the fact that the Buffalo Bills will be in prime time on Thursday night. So in 2 days' time, we will see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head to Buffalo. So 2 teams that have underwhelmed the last couple of games, potentially, how you want to look at it. 2 teams that start off the season pretty well, but have recently hit a bit of a slide, have a short work week to get things right in Buffalo. And then, of course, the Sunday nighter that nobody asked for and probably nobody really wants to see, the 2-5 Bears take on the 2-4 Chargers. So,
dude,
what? They didn't flex that?
They cannot flex as of right now. And then the Monday nighter, equally impressive potentially. But we get
show me that
the
Sunday night
Detroit
game.
Lions on Monday night, the 5-2 Lions coming off a terrible win against the 3-4 listless Raiders. So your primetime matchups do not feature any of our teams this week, as it is Bears, Chargers, Raiders, Lions as your Sunday and Monday nighters, respectively. And I'm just trying to scroll through here. My Dallas Cowboys make their triumphant return at home against the other Los Angeles team, the Rams. That'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff East Coast time, the same time as Brandon's Vikings will kick off in Lambeau Field against Jordan Love and the 2-4 Packers. We scroll down a little bit further to see Dave's Jacksonville Jaguars at 5-2 taking on the pesky Steelers at 4-2. Also 1 o'clock kick. And then we will look for the Miami Dolphins, who I probably skipped, because they are playing the Patriots. So all 4 of our teams playing at 1 o'clock this week. So the 2-5 Patriots travel to Miami to play the 5-2 Dolphins.
That's going to hurt.
Patriots coming off a win in the division. Meanwhile, we saw what happened to Miami on Sunday night. So with all of that, we get to our lock, our underdog, and then we will try to run the table with AC. So does anybody want to step up to the plate and pick first?
No.
Well, the guys, the top dog, Mr. Cossio, number one stunner.
I just want to tell everybody on Clapper who's watching my face but listening to 3 other people. This is NFL HQ. My name's AC. These These are my friends. We talk about football every Tuesday night. We're going to start firing up the clapper so you guys can chime in. Let us know what your favorite teams are, what you guys want to know. I'm perfect at betting so far. So if you guys want to make some money for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. Don't come hunt me down when
He's pretty good.
Josh Allen.
He is pretty good.
Stick.
I mean, I'm okay. I've made a little bit of money. I have hit 2 10-team parlays this season alone. Just want to put that out there. I have proof. So if you guys want to see our faces, except for Dan Rod, who doesn't ever show his face, but Brandon and Mr. Watson does. So what they do is, they show their faces on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So if you guys want to know where that is, hit the link. You can see us, and you can actually see this share screen where I actually go through all of the spreads and the Las Vegas numbers, the over and unders and stuff, so we can give you our locks, and then you in turn can become the next NFL millionaire. All right. So
and just very quickly, as you said all that so eloquently, AC, I should also mention for those of you that are getting into the show and things like that, these betting lines have been out, probably some of them even before the last week's games kicked off, a lot of them right after the finish or completion of games that just finished in week 7. So when we are sitting here on a Tuesday, some of the lines that we see, we can wager on right now. However, those lines couldn't change depending on how the public bets on a game. Injuries can definitely affect the betting line, especially an injury to a quarterback. So some of the bets we make this week on this show, you might listen in and say, well, that's not the line I saw on Sunday, or sometimes we'll recap the week and talk about the line that kicked off on Sunday. So betting lines can change. But for our entertainment purposes only and for the purpose of this show, when we are making our lock and underdog, we are going off the lines that we see currently on a Tuesday.
So things can change, but it's even more impressive when I'm telling you the Browns are going to cover without Deshaun Watson. Well, I know Deshaun Watson's not going to start. So that's the kind of stuff you're going to get. Nostradamus shit, things that are just going to blow your mind. If you guys like NFL in any capacity, you ever want to see it again, you send $20. No, I'm kidding. YouTube, Twitch, hit us up. Watch this. So I'm going to go ahead and start this this betting.
Please do.
All right, it's called the Better Suite, and I'm going to tell you that after much deliberation, I can guarantee you that the Seahawks are going to beat the Browns by 3 points on Sunday at 4:25, 105 Eastern.
Dude, I know how good you're at this because I was going to pick the other way.
You're good.
So yeah, no, that means your pick's good because I was going to go the Browns +3. No, keep going. Sorry.
You can still do Browns +3. They won't. I mean, they can lose. They can not lose by that much.
Is that your lock or your underdog? No, it's
lock,
not the underdog.
Dave.
Yeah, that's
there you
the
go.
lock.
You figured it out.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
And then my underdog.
Forgot what I was doing.
It's going to be the Browns. So Seahawks are going to definitely beat the Browns by 3 points this week. And nothing here. This is crap, guys. This is absolute crap. Oh, here's a pick'em game. So the Vikings are definitely going to the Packers by 1.5. It's going to 1.5, depending on what betting site you're looking at. Bet365 has -1. FanDuel has -1.5. MGM +1. So there's a little swing there, but I am taking the Vikings either money line or I am going to take them with the 1 point for sure.
Wait, they're the favorite though. So there's 2 favorites, right? What's your underdog?
No, Minnesota right now is a 1 point
not.
dog at Green Bay, according to some of the sites right now.
1 point dog.
That's fine.
I just
That's barely a
favorite
dog.
on 1.
Barely a
told you
dog.
all the line. If it shows it on Bet3 on Vegas Insider, you know I'm taking the +1. Absolutely.
And we should just preface that pick very quickly by saying Dave and I very much believe in the NFL HQ curse, where if any of us pick one of the games with one of our teams involved, our team ultimately will lose that game regardless of how the pick goes. In this situation, if Minnesota loses, then that it also loses the underdog pick for AC. However, Brandon has appeared to be immune to this, and I don't know if AC has gone against the NFL curse yet, but we will see if AC and how he does, not only in his betting, but with the NFL HQ curse. I might as well go next since I have my picks already locked and loaded. I am terrible at this, so I'll just make them short and sweet. I think the Buffalo Bills -8.5 at home on a short week against Tampa Bay.
I love
as
that
much
bet.
as Buffalo has struggled and Tampa Bay has struggled, I'll take the Bills -8.5 against Tampa Bay. I think they're good for a touchdown and a field goal win. 8.5 is a large amount of points, but
wow,
give me the Bills. And for my underdog, two teams that consistently make my predictions wrong, they're facing each other this week in Tennessee. And as AC will tell you, we love a home dog. The Tennessee Titans are a 2.5-point dog at home against the Falcons. We know Desmond Ritter is decent at home. He's not great on the road. I don't know why the Falcons are favored at Tennessee coming up, but they've already traded away Kevin Byard. I think Derrick Henry could be a candidate to be sold off. Maybe he's auditioning for a new team. I'd love to see Derrick Henry in a Cowboys blue uniform. I'll just throw that out there into the ethos. I think he could be a missing cog in the wheel that is Dallas's offense. Give me the Tennessee Titans, 2.5-point dog at home. Let the dogs eat against the Falcons.
Arthur Smith versus old team. I like that because Vrabel knows how to play against that offense, and if they had a quarterback that could make plays outside of that, I think they would be in trouble. But since Ritter's horrible, I think that I love the Titans pick. Great.
As I say that, I should also mention that the last time we saw the Titans was in London 2 weeks ago, and Ryan Tannehill was injured. So we might not see Ryan Tannehill. Maybe that's why they're the underdog.
I don't know.
That was 2 weeks ago.
I think he'd be okay.
No, he's gonna.
care.
Yeah, he's got this.
Give me the Titans.
Remember,
Malik Willis is horrible too, though.
Well, remember
We'll remember the Titans one way or the other because we'll recap it in 7 days' time. Brandon, do you want to go next, or should we go to?
No, give it to Dave.
Right.
I'll end it.
Please.
I'm still looking a little bit.
Yes, not you're still looking. Here's the deal. Normally every week I get ready for this and I pick them, and so far I'm losing 4-4. Dan Rod, you and I are tied. Brandon, you have 6 picks correct, and AC you have 9. Now we've only bet 6 weeks. We didn't pick the first week.
So you're saying
Brandon,
you and I combined have less correct picks than AC alone?
correct, and also Brandon missed a week. He's still kicking our ass. He missed a week, and
Bad.
yeah,
You want me
I'm
to
not good
pick
at
an
this.
extra game maybe to kind of make up for it?
No,
I could have missed the
you're
last
still
2
winning.
weeks and still had the same amount of correct picks.
Correct.
Now, so it does not matter.
So I haven't even looked yet. Are the Colts playing again? Are they playing?
They are.
Let me see that
The
game.
Colts are a 1-point favorite. I see at home
Yeah.
against the Saints.
Against the son of a bitch. Never mind.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's going to be my lock. The Colts. They're a 1-point favorite. They're going to win more
I
than
like
that
that,
against the
yeah.
Saints.
The Colts are a 1-point favorite as much
I'll
as
take that.
a favorite at FanDuel,
Okay.
MGM.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's my lock.
Okay.
Unless it can be my underdog, because no, it's not.
No, it's a favorite.
All right, give me some underdogs.
It's gonna be the underdog. Your Jaguars are the Steelers will be an underdog against your Jaguars. That will be a compliment.
Yeah, not
Commanders
touching
are an
that
underdog
one.
against the Eagles. They always play them tough. In
All right, hang on.
Washington.
I thought I had
The
one.
Panthers are an underdog, a winless Panthers team against
Underdogs are rough.
Texans, a team you've seen a few times.
That's where you get your first win, usually against another rookie quarterback. So they usually
The
take each other on.
Broncos at home against the Chiefs. The Cardinals at home against the
No.
Ravens. The Bengals on the
No.
road at the 49ers.
No, God damn it! I hate these.
Look at the Justin.
Can I pick the opposite of what I did just so I get a win?
How about this?
Oh,
just
you're
so I get
Under,
one.
Dave.
Can I?
you get it, yeah, I guess. He's
All
like,
right,
I'll take
no,
the win
no,
and
no.
the loss.
No, I know, right? At least I get a win.
How about
Just random pick something.
How about you do a
Your best
prediction,
shot.
like a prop bet, right, Dave? And instead
All
of
right, you were talking about this.
you can say, you know what, Calvin Ridley's going to catch 75 yards or more.
He's not though.
Yeah, and you got to really look into each game's props.
Here's-
It's too hard at the time right now to just.
Here's
pull one out of
my
your hat.
prop bet. Here's my prop bet is Calvin Ridley before the end of the season gets really mad and quits the Jaguars.
Vontae Davis.
No, he's not getting it thrown to enough. All right, I actually have. I don't know. Scroll through those again. That Vikings game. Show me
But
that.
you got to
one.
take the
All right.
underdog now.
All right, so the underdog is.
Would be the
The
Packers.
Vikings plus
All
one.
right.
You want the same underdog as AC?
Hold
No,
on.
that's AC's
Hold on.
favorite, the Vikings.
It's still a win. You know, it's whatever it is. It doesn't matter if you go with me.
The actual underdog is the Packers. Am I right?
Oh no,
Yeah.
because it's fans,
Minnesota's a 1-point underdog
What?
currently.
except for
At
at
Green
GM.
Bay.
Except for MGM. MGM has them.
No, I'm looking at it says Packers 1+1. What is that on bet?
All that's plus on the Packers, so the Packers is the underdog.
That's right.
All right, so
Like-
I'm picking the Packers. I'm going.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm going to cancel out. I'm going to cancel out your bullshit thing that you tried to do to Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
Give me the
cancel
good
that
mojo.
out. And underdog, I'm going to pick the Packers to cancel out so that Brandon doesn't lose that game. Or I don't know how it works.
Cancel out.
I have no fucking
Well, I
idea.
did tell you Jordan Love is horrible, and they would lose to the Broncos, right?
You
So
did.
that
God
does
damn it,
help.
you were good.
So right now
You know
we
what,
have
so-
some sites have Green Bay as a 1-point dog, and
Yeah,
some
that's
sites
a
have
real
Minnesota as a
mixture.
1-point
of
dog.
them. I
So
guess
we
you
have-
can pick what you like.
We have two different individuals picking one pick. So AC, you're picking
As the
Minnesota
dog.
as a 1-point dog,
Yeah,
right?
one has him as a dog, one as his
And,
favorite.
and
Just
Dave
pick
is
which-
picking Green Bay as the home dog.
They
Okay.
both count.
They do.
Sounds good. As far as we are concerned, or as far as I know, Green Bay is going off as the favorite right now, but
Damn
we'll
it.
take him as a dog. So again, depending on the betting site, this is also a good lesson.
I was
for those
going
that have
there.
Not seen. You can
Yeah.
see different betting lines at different places,
Probably gonna
and
pick
maybe
them.
you like. Again, 1 point's tough, but maybe if you see a spread of like 3.5 somewhere, and maybe you like a team to cover a field goal, you get that extra hook, then maybe that's a better pick for you to take. So
You guys-
always check the different betting sites to see which line better suits where you're feeling.
Yeah.
Anyways, with all that being said, Brandon, would you like to give us a lock and an underdog?
Oh yeah. So you know what? You go with what you know, right? After a loser team wins a game, they usually fall down. So definitely got to take the Chiefs because you know the Broncos ain't gonna win no damn 2 in a row,
Nope.
and so they'll
Love
probably smoke them. They haven't lost
Yeah.
to what since 2015, I think it was.
Patrick Mahomes has
Last
never
time they
lost
to
to the Denver Broncos. They're going for record streaks. The Chiefs against the
Yeah.
Broncos and the Patriots against the Jets are trying to set the all-time record for most consecutive wins against an opponent.
And
They're
then the
going back
next,
and
my
forth,
underdog is you take a team on a bye versus a team on a short week. And so you get the Bengals against the Niners. And I'm getting 5.5, right? And then you think, look at you could pass on that team. And so you think Jordan Addison's gonna smoke you. Wait till you see what Jamar Chase does to Chaz Ward. Maybe the Niners pull it out, but I'll definitely love the 5. But I think even the Bengals win this game. And so my thing is Bengals
Wow.
and Chiefs.
Is that your underdog?
Yeah,
Bengals?
Bengals.
So the Bengals plus 5.5 on the road.
They've been
against
rested,
San
waiting,
Francisco coming
studying
off
for
the
this team.
bye. And of course, that would make the San Francisco 49ers, if they were to lose this game, after starting the season 5-0, 3 straight losses at
Yeah.
Cleveland, at Minnesota, and at
Happens.
home
They're feeling bad.
against
You know,
the Cincinnati Bengals. So the North would not be kind to a team.
Burrow's
from the
back,
West.
you know, and so they're gonna slang it on this team. They're gonna do, you know, same thing, whatever
Wow.
you know, Vikings did to them, they're gonna do to them.
You really hate Purdy, huh?
I can only say
No,
that
you know,
if this were to happen, they have a bye to stew on 3 straight losses, and then they go to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. So we will see what a rested San Francisco 49ers team possibly coming off.
Yeah,
3 straight
I hate
losses.
Purdy also. Good call.
No, it's not that. I just hate I hate quarterback wins. I hate that. It's the only position that they give the win total to. They always say, "Oh, well, the running back, he got he's
And the best part about all
losses."
that is also
I
the
don't
starting
understand it.
quarterback. So you could get hurt on the first drive
Right.
and
Yeah.
not get the credit. So like Brock Purdy's first career win was not the game he first came in because Jimmy Garoppolo got credit for that win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they always
Brock
go
Purdy's
they go
streak
like
started
all he
this
does is win. It's like that makes no sense. Like no one ever does it to any other position. They go, well, what's the win-loss record of the safety? You know,
Yeah,
but
that's
for some
true.
reason that position gets wins and losses.
Pitchers,
Yeah,
baseball
There's
pitchers.
only the coach should be able to get wins and losses.
Yep.
They have more control over both sides of the ball. Other than that, a quarterback puts it in there. But I always like when they say, well, this quarterback versus this quarterback, and it's like he never wins against them. Like he's playing defense against them.
Right.
Yeah.
And they never
Yeah.
do anything except shake hands at the end of the game.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know,
Sometimes
Yeah.
before the game.
Right.
where they're like,
You know how much I
Mahomes
love-
beats this guy all the time, and it's like, well, yeah, he beats that
they didn't
defense.
even touch each other. You know how much
Yeah,
I
like
love
they
him?
don't, you know, that maybe tennis it works, but I never basketball differently. But to have
Right.
one position at a 53-man roster gets wins and losses, it's just an odd kind of thing. And so when we are, you know, we contribute the win to the quarterback, it's kind of crazy. Where it's like, yeah, how about the, you know, McCaffrey running for this, Kittle getting that, you know, Bosa getting 2 sacks, and it's like, and Purdy's good. Okay,
Get the
I don't know that. I don't know if that's
Dude.
real.
It's the same as when you say something like, you know, the Cowboys have not beat the Las Vegas Raiders in the last 23 years. Well, you know, that maybe 6 games, and 5 of those games happened before
Yeah.
1995. It's like half these players weren't even born the last time the Cowboys played in Las Vegas, let's say. It's
In
like even the year before, it's like the team that's playing this year is not the same team that played last year. These teams might be somewhat similar, but they're not the exact same team.
Mhm.
And it's not like they're going out there being like, "Oh, can you believe we haven't like what was it the Jets finally beat the Eagles?" They weren't going out there being like, "Oh man, we've never beat the Eagles before in the history of the New York Jets. I don't know if we can do it this week."
Yeah,
It is crazy how we bring
those
it,
weird,
but
when those
we
weird
love it 'cause
NFC
it's-
things happen where you don't play the team for a while, and all of a sudden you got to go there, and you're like, especially as I was thinking about Miami. Like Miami goes to Philadelphia like once every 8 years, and you're gonna get usually get your bait. Usually you lose those games, right? It's hard to.
And then Russell Wilson in Seattle had to come over, and he'd struggle mightily against East Coast teams because that.
Like you don't see them,
It's hot.
I'm gonna describe the San Francisco, or actually the quarterback for San Francisco 49ers, like I do my hot cousin from Texas. All right, you know what? She might not be that good, but at least she's purty. With that, I gotta say I love you fuckers.
No.
And I hate you fuckers at the same time. Can't wait to see you next week. That's what I'm here for. Dumb, stupid dad jokes. All right. See you, son of a bitches.
We might only
Love you
associate
guys.
wins and losses to quarterbacks, but first win of the NBA season goes to the defending champion Denver Nuggets, Nikola
Son
Jokic.
of a bitch.
29 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. LeBron James had 21 points in the losing effort, 8 rebounds as well. Anthony Davis had 2 blocks. But the Lakers lose week 1 or game 1. They don't play weeks. They play games. 1 of 82. Denver raises the banner, and they raise a toast to another win, 119-107. And I believe they're down to their final out. But those pesky Diamondbacks of Arizona could come back and beat the Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh, man.
It is official. Jake Cave, or Cave, however you want to pronounce this, flied out. And your World Series matchup that everyone predicted 162-plus games ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Texas Rangers.
Baseball is ridiculously stupid. They play 100 times.
The hotbed that is Arizona.
It's scripted.
2 out of 3s, 3 out of 5s, and then you get these. Nobody's gonna watch this thing. You might as well put it on ESPN Ocho.
It's scripted. Yeah, they have dodgeball there. All right, good night. Right. Good night, sons of bitches.
All right, good night.
Thank you, everybody. Catch us, everybody on Clapper. Catch us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Hit the link and grab us over here so you can see more than just me. I'm not the prettiest guy on this TV show, if you can imagine. So do that.
No, you're pretty.
Oh, you pretty. No, you brought it.
Again, big thank you to Anthony that joined us, friend of Dave, friend of AC, a Eagles fan. And as much as I don't think any of us are rooting for the Eagles, at least we know somebody that does. So there's another NFC East divisional opponent for my Cowboys coming off the bye. And also, remember, week 8, no teams on a bye this week. So 16 action. So as much as it was difficult for us to pick some of our games, there are plenty of games to choose from. But as always, enjoy the football, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And we are NFL HQ in our tagline. We might not always have the best IQ, but we are NFL HQ. And we'll try to improve that IQ as we go forward. And also that tagline has not been approved by the 3 members of this show. Bye.
I love it.
I was like, I can work with it.
I love it. Check us out on Clapper.
All right, see you guys later.
Later, Clapper.
On that.
Later.
I don't know what Clapper is.
I got
Clapper.